Stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. You're ready for Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is ever to be construed as hate, medical, and illegal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on therealpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be don't want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week on Forbidden History Live and Ninja Cat 111 with the Forbidden History Chronicles. What they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here, because somebody's got to do it, and that's just what I do, ladies and gentlemen. Still time to call your friends. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's Forbidden History Live with your host, Dezert-Owl. To the jungle, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bungle in the jungle, and the jungle's going down. That's planet Earth, okay? It's a tough world out there, and only the tough are going to survive, and that's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen, because here is where we bring you the most important information on the face of the entire Earth, or under the Earth. Here is where each week we bring you the very best in radio broadcast listening, while we reveal the greatest secrets and the deeper mysteries of life. Yet the one question that will always remain will be this: can you handle the truth as it will be presented here this evening, tomorrow morning, in the future, wherever you are around the world? I don't know if you can handle the truth. I don't even know if you want the truth. Some people prefer the fiction. Don't bore me with the truth, just give me the fiction. But the truth, ladies and gentlemen, can set you free. And we must know a thing about our world. And so that's what we're doing right here. 7 days a week, and everything's recorded, so you can always go back and follow the trail back as we move forward in our discoveries, and lots of discoveries, no end to them actually, in the great mystery of the Great Lie, because this planet is one big lie, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to the broadcast, all of you. And I see we got Lynn and Ninja there, and Yochelleg, our engineer. Thank you, and Hans from out there in. I think you're in Ireland, aren't you, Hans? Or it's either England or Ireland. I can't remember. Yeah, long time no see. And oh, I just said that, and you said that too. Long time no see. I thought I lost your channel. Good to see you're still kicking. Nice. Yeah. Well, we did lose a channel through. It happens about every year, it seems like, and that's because we're a little hot. You know what I mean? And so things happen. Don't ask me. But we can't get help locally because I'm surrounded by criminal Freemasons that, don't have my best interest at heart. So, but fortunately, we got ramped up again. Took about almost half a year, And so we're doing it again. So this is another channel being produced by a great friend, Hans. And hey, Charlotte, good to have you on the broadcast as well. Nice to have new friends coming in and old friends coming in at the same time. So that's right. So we're here to serve, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we're here. And so if anybody has a comment or a question, you're trying to figure something out. If you are shy to call in, then you can just put, or if it's a short question, then put desert in all capital letters. Then you can type your question in upper and lower case. Okay, and that way, good to have you. And but if you want to call in with a little more, back and forth for clarification on a topic, then call in on the hotline 608-566-7295. That's 608-566-7295. And we'll give it out again later. And then also our Skype, you can call, and Shelley will take your call. Forbidden History Live is the Skype name, okay? Forbidden History Live, just like the channel. So love to hear from you. And the time, there's another channel out there called Times and Signs News. That's Times and then the ampersand, not A-N-D, but the ampersand, Times and Signs News. And you need to check out their last one from the 28th, yesterday. Okay, go check out, and it's titled "You Thought You Saw It All." Okay, because this 15-minute presentation on what's going on in our world is, and I've been watching this stuff for years, but this one was a little more of a concentrated dose, and especially because all of the coastlines apparently around from in the Gulf on the U.S. and then all the way around Florida and all the way up the Atlantic. I don't know how far up the Atlantic, but certainly Florida, and that's far enough, is all algae bloom. Okay, and even a lake in New Jersey, algae bloom. You can't swim in the lake, toxic. You can't even touch the water, and you can get toxic feedback. Okay, and so apparently Shelley is getting the link. Shelley, thank you. And so what is it? What's going on? Basically, the UVC UVB is heating up all the waters. The waters are heating up. They have to be cold in order for life to survive in them. They have to be colder than warmer, right? I mean, you think of it like a bathtub, warm. Something's going to be wrong growing in there with the heat. So that's what's happening. Is a primitive, very toxic algae, and so it's going to kill all life, all the dolphins, all the turtles, the sea life, all, and the people can't go swimming, and they'll get sick as well. So literally, we're witnessing the shutdown. It's a shutdown of our, and Hans says we have a large beach area sealed off because of the contamination. Right. So over there on the other side of the big ocean, in England or Ireland. What is it, Hans? I can't remember now. England or Ireland, where you live. So and then I just saw a documentary about Patagonia down at the tip of Chile, beautiful, pristine area. It's sort of like going to Alaska, like that. And all these inlets and everything. Ireland. Thank you, Hans. And so all these inlets, and they had a die-off when they did the film, or just prior to doing the film. And so we could say maybe within the last three years, give or take. I don't know the date, but they had 350 whales come in and beach themselves all in this general area. And they said that for every beaching you see of porpoises or of whales, that's only 10%. That they say that they figured out that literally 10 times that number probably died. So we're talking about near 3,000 to 4,000 whales that would have died way down there to the tip of Chile. You think it would have been pretty clean down there, but what is it? So most likely it's the food source is dying off. It's all going down, ladies and gentlemen. And so we know our days are numbered. You've got limited time on planet Earth. We thought, maybe we had always hoped we could live out our lives and, die in our bed, right? But no, we're apparently going to starve to death very shortly, because that's why they're making all of the fake food, you know. And one video I saw earlier this week says that every week, because there's so much garbage in our food now, we literally eat the equivalent of one credit card of plastic every week. Can you imagine? One credit card of plastic. So you're getting all of that petrochemical byproduct in you, like benzene and what have you. So all of it's bad. All of it's bad there. So the fake food, somebody was trying to burn cheese on a channel the other day. They couldn't burn the cheese. The cheese wouldn't melt and it wouldn't burn. So we've got to be real careful about what we're eating, and it's better to eat simple. Simple, and but even like oatmeal, the whole oats, you don't have to boil that oatmeal down, because raw food, as we've learned from friends, is really the best kind of food to eat. So I don't boil my oatmeal, and I don't get instant, and I don't get prepackaged, because all of those are laced now with the chemicals, that Monsanto puts out. So I try to eat very cautiously, and that's the way we have to do it. Yeah, and Hans says, yeah, eat simple of the garden and local farmers. Sure, yeah, and vinegar is the best way to wash your vegetables as well, ladies and gentlemen. So I just want to give that little update. And if you want to know more about the environment and how it's going down, and how there ain't nothing we can do to stop it now, other than be prepared to embrace ourselves and make our connection with the Father above. Go to Dane Wigington. He'll be on later today. It should be posted within about 4 to 5 hours. Dane Wigington will be posted on YouTube. So, okay, DANE. Well, there it is. Thank you, Shelley. Okay, Dane Wigington and Deborah Travaris as well. You got to look at her her 5 reports. Okay, all in this one report. It's broken into 5 pieces. She's smart. She's breaking down her presentations so people can take a bite at a time, because it's a lot to absorb. And so Deborah Travaris, go check her out as well. That's her YouTube channel. Okay, it's stopthecrime.net new. That's her channel. Stopthecrime.net new obviously got taken down. And Dane Wigington is the name of his channel. Geoengineeringwatch.org is his website, but his YouTube channel is Dane Wigington. They took the other one down. All these people will be here, all of us, for just a short. It's no longer the you in what I mean in tube. Okay, it's them, and they don't care about us, because it's a closed shop, ladies and gentlemen. Only the phony illuminated are going to think they're going to survive in some underground cave somewhere indefinitely. Well, that won't last very long. With all the breakup of our Earth, those tunnels will be flooded. Those underground cities, they're going to have problems. And not only that, you can't procreate underground. You need to be out under the sun in order to procreate. So and then you think you'd want to be locked underground with people that eat each other? Think about it. I think I'd rather take my not be underground. So with these people, these psychopaths, blood drinkers, ritual sacrifice, you could be the next one on the menu. It could be, right? It's called the ever flipping coin. There's no honor among thieves. It's a piracy. Hey, Marty. Yes, I think need to get Joe, because we need somebody to eat. All right, let's get Joe. Hey, Joe, come on. Let's have dinner together, shall we? Yeah. All right. And the next thing Joe knows, he's being sliced and diced and fricasseed and on the Barbie. Yes. And so here's a quote. We better get to the program here, because I could keep going on with this. It's what this world, and Fix It for Fox. Hey, Fix It Fox, good to have you. Okay, and nice to have new friends coming in. Thanks to Kip, Over the Road Kip. He's shared our channel with his friends and that follow him on Over the Road. So really nice to meet wonderful people. We've had some wonderful people stop by. And so here's a quote by Confucius. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember. Okay? So, but to see means to get the picture, and that's a cliche that I use here, so I hear and I forget, but if I see it, if I can see it, I get the picture. and therefore I can remember. Okay, that's the secret behind symbolism and metaphor. And so, before we get into our main part today on the lost books of the Bible, forgotten books of Eden, on the legacy of the fallen watchers, which watcher is an incorrect term. It was the Vakar, the way of the movement, the way of the movement. In other words, that the ancient ones could study the movement of all things. They knew the movement of the stars, the planets, the moon, the cycles. They knew the movements of nature. They knew it all, ladies and gentlemen. And so the vicars, so we see them in the Vatican today. They call themselves vicars. They're also called, the cardinals are the pin, the card nail. In other words, you know how you have a door and a door jamb, and you have two hinges. You have one on the door, one on the jamb, and then they come together and fit perfectly. And then you put a pin in between the two hinges. And so the card nails, who are also called the vicars, they everything hinges on them. You see, they are the nail. Therefore, in other words, what it implies is that they are power brokers. Okay, they're power brokers, and so they're the watchers. This is but of course, it's really all just a front, because they're not the ones running our world. They're doing it on behest of what I call the unseen hand. I got that term from old friend Ralph Epperson, who wrote the book The Unseen Hand. But it's the perfect term, because the people who are running our world, you will never see them, you'll never hear their names, you will never know them. They're few of them may be up in Switzerland, some of them up in northern India, up in Burma, Tibet. They're in enclaves. Maybe some in Germany, but they're all unknown to us. But their agents go and talk to their puppets, the El Presidentes of the different imaginations. The nations are the imaginations in our mind, because there are no nations in this true sense, that they're all just corporations and all tied together, one for all and all for one. Hey, matey, yes, the piracy. Yes, the treason, the trees' sons, those who crafted the ships. Craft means treason in Middle English. And then trade. What part of traders don't we get with the word trade, right? The sellouts that made us interdependent upon each other. So we've got to get the picture and see. So I've got to turn off that air real quick. It's starting to get cold in here. So we're heating up now the last 2 days, but stand by for a second, and give me 30 seconds. Hang on. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, we are the realpublicradio.net. This is bad for radio, but we're grassroots all the way, and they got all the money. We don't have any money, but we do get it done on a song, a wing, and a prayer. And thank the Father above. They have a great food pantry over here in town. I am absolutely astounded at what they provide. It's called the Love Center, and so that was 14 seconds. Okay, very good. I'll work on it and get better, Charlotte. Thank you. And so I wanted to give some examples of and I know that with a few new listeners today, I was thinking, I might have to do a little primer just to get them up to speed with what we've been talking about before their heads start spinning and they're gonna maybe pass out or say, Desert, where do you get this stuff? And so let me think of how I want to approach this. First, I'll give you the example out of this Smith's Bible Dictionary. And what we need to do, as I've said all along on this broadcast, is we need to identify the lies, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know the truth, the first thing to do is identify all the lies, okay? And so I have a card. I took a few notes on it, realizing some new friends may be coming on here from Kip's channel. And we have a thing that these are the things we learn in school, right? And I should probably talk about money too, because money. Let's use that as the first example, okay? Because that's the big one. They tell us that this thing called a Federal Reserve note Well, a note is a promise to pay, right? A note is a promise to pay. So go take it to the bank. You think they're going to give you gold or silver because it's a note. It's not money. We call it money, but it's not money. It's a note. And so you can't cash it in. Therefore, it's worthless paper. The only reason it's got any intrinsic value is because of we put faith in it. We have all agreed mutually from our diapers that this is the means of commerce, the exchange item for commerce, but yet it is a debt instrument and has no substance behind it other than the grand illusion and the delusion. So it's not a note, it's not money. Now they say it's a dollar. Well, a dollar is a weight measurement. Okay, so like if I told you I had four quarts, you'd say, okay, Desert, 4 quarts of what? Okay, 4 quarts. Okay, 4 quarts of oil, quarts of milk. You know, and so if I say I got a dollar, you're supposed to say, well, a dollar of what, Desert? You got a dollar of a round door, because a dollar means round door. And so a round door of what? A dollar of gold, a dollar of silver? No, it's a dollar. It's an illusion. There's nothing behind the dollar. It's not money. It's not a note. And it's not a dollar. But it is currency because it is in the Admiralty Sea. It's the current. It's in the current of the sea that is encroached upon the land, that emerging sea. When the bankers declared us the enemy of the state in 1933, the emergency is the emerging sea of their papal bull, of their royal priesthood and darkness. Okay, so funny money, ladies and gentlemen, is all we have, and that right there should be a foundational concern for all people. Right? For all people, because we know that we're being scammed, and yet we go on every day living in this delusion and this illusion with no possible hope for remedy. Well, the good news is this is not our world, and then they put all the symbols on the one, all their occultic symbols on the number one, in particular the big ones, with the pyramid and and the phoenix/eagle on the right-hand side of the back, and in God we trust. So in God, you see there's a royal symbol. It's also the Egyptian obelisk, and it's the letter L. And the L, so if we put their what they took the vow to, which is their symbol for their Luciferian goddess, L, E-L, okay, also spelled E-L, because that came out of the Babylonian Talmud and out of Babylon. It's correctly Ul, like the owl, but they didn't want you to get that picture either. And you can find the owl on the dollar bill. I get a bad rap because there's bad owls, but if you look at the front of the $1 bill, then up in the top right, you'll see in the shield where there's a 1, and it's got all these cobwebs in it. But on the very top left, in the curve of the shield, you'll see a little owl facing to the right and turned with his head turned towards you. Okay, and so, but on the back, if we see the two circles of the $1 bill, you'll see a circle on the left with the pyramid, circle on the right with an eagle. And above are two profound symbols. In the top of the pyramid, and actually there's two pyramids there. It's not one pyramid. All the Masons are in the lower pyramid. They don't have, unless you're 33 degree, you're not in the upper pyramid. Okay, you're just another building block in the pyramid, going to be chewed up and spit out and betrayed and on the Barbie one day when they don't need you anymore. Okay, so what we see in that top pyramid is the eye, and it represents the sun. Because the ancients all knew that the sun is the eye. It represents the great spirit of life. So they're pretenders. Lucy pretends that she's, looking good and she's the light, but of course she's darkness. And then on the right, above the eagle, you'll see that very interesting kind of aura, and it is the moon, the symbol of the moon with the Star of David in there, and it's a symbol of creation. The Star of David is the symbol of creation. So creation is then solid matter, and so the moon represents solid creation, solid matter. Oh, thank you, Hans. Yeah, I know you're a deep study, bro. I know that, and don't forget to spell Hans with a colon, okay? And he's gone down the rabbit hole himself. So, so anyway, so the pyramid, back on the left-hand side. So the all their puppies, all their dogs, God is dog. Oh, what I was going to say about the Egyptian obelisk, I forgot. Okay, so the L that they took a vow to, in God we trust, is really in gold they trust. Okay, so they took over all the gold. There may be one brick left in Fort Knox, but that's what they're always going for, is the gold. That's their goal, is to get the gold, and that's their God, because their God is matter, it's mammon, it's of the earth. They care not for the light, they care not for truth, and they're the ones who have fed us all their lies. And so that's what we're doing here, is revealing some lies today. So the the lower pyramid is all of those that they use and set up, and give some pretty good perks, like the sheriff, or the chief of police, or whoever, the politician, the priest, the preacher. They get them all in the game, because the game's good. It's like, and people are easily taken in, by the power, the idea of power. That's the real drug. Then on the right, we got the eagle, which is a phoenix, and the shield. There's your banking shield, and it's got the 13 stripes, 13 arrows in the talons of the eagle, and I think there's 13 leaves on that olive branch. So they're offering you peace through war, or war through peace. What is it? I don't know. One or the other. Perpetual war, but always the olive branch. Yeah, we're going to have peace, but it's always war. And so there's sun and moon, light and darkness, symbols of creation, cosmological in its nature. Okay, so I just want to share that with you. And they claim to be one because it's on the $1 bill. They claim to be the one, and then one backwards is do the anagram, and it's eon, for the ages, because they've been one for the ages according to their claim. All right, and so that's one lie. And now let's talk about the four elements, because in school, they tell us schools, and by the way, the word school has the Scottish rite C in front of the S, because it's not school, it is shul. It is shul, and that's where we find in the title of our Redeemer, the Redeemer of mankind, Yashulan Va, who we abbreviate as Yeshua, because it's more easy for people to wrap their head around Yeshua after escaping Jesus, which is an occultic term, and Yeshua, but it's really Yashulan Va, or we could say Yashulva for short. You see, the words go back in primitive, and it is it's there. Thank you, Shelley. There's Yal Shul and Va, and Yal Shul and Va. Yal is the dial. That's what goes round. What goes round? The Earth is spinning, but the illusion is that the sun is going around, right? But it's the Earth spinning. But so Yal is the dial that's going round, and that's why when they wrote a little lamp at night in the primitive, this is original thought. You're hearing it here first if you're listening in for the first time. Okay, so they lit the lantern. Why did they light the lantern, Mommy? Why are we lighting the lantern? Because the land turns, honey. The land turns. The land is turning. They call the lamp what it is that the earth is doing. The land turns. Okay, and that's why they light the lamp. And so shul. So shul is the prime word for knowledge. Okay, shu, the abbreviation with the L is shoe. You put on your shoe because you go somewhere and you learn. We learn everywhere we go. Ya shulan, there's the prime root for land, because you wear your shoe on the land. Shulan, but also shul on for one. Okay, the knowledge of the one, because everywhere we go, the only thing we can ever learn, if we get to the primordial root and meaning of all things, is the knowledge of the one. It's the play of the one. The mother and father are one. Okay, and everything came out of the light, the one symbol, the logo, the origin of where we fell from. And then the va at the end is the serpent, the va. Okay, so literally what it means to transliterate Yashulam Va means the knowledge of the serpent that goes round. Well, isn't it the serpent the first thing we meet in the garden? I mean, to use their terminology, because it's a little different. They've corrupted it all. But let's just ask the question, isn't it the serpent that we're introduced to in the garden, and yet nobody knows really who the serpent is or what the serpent is? The knowledge of the serpent that goes round. And in the fundamental principle, everything is the serpent. But specifically, the serpent is somebody specific. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. If you hang in there with us, ladies and gentlemen, okay, you'll find out who that serpent is, okay? And to just so let's and I'll just point out that the most important transliterations of our scriptures in our modern time today, the three most important ones, all acknowledge that the word Lucifer is not in our scriptures, but was interpolated there by the occult. Okay, and the same thing with the 666 in Revelations, chapter 13 or chapter 12, verse 13. I have to open it up. I can't remember the exact site, but okay. And so we all accept whatever's been handed to us, and that's why I ultimately came up with a saying. You know, the things that you follow are, in your spiritual walk, are these things that have been handed to you by tradition, or are these things that you have received by revelation? Okay, because for me, I received all this stuff by tradition, but then I said, wait a minute, and I started studying. I said, wait a minute, this isn't true. This isn't true. Oh, this isn't true. Look, and not only that, they've abbreviated our words. What's going on, Mrs. Smith? What's going on? And so I proved it out when I looked up the word Adam and Eve. I found out that the word is in the Strong's Concordance was not Adam, and the word in the Strong's Concordance was not Eve. And so you've got to, believe, Lynn, thank you. Believe is to belie Eve. And when you look in the Latin dictionary I have from 1812, it says to believe means to give little credit to something. Whoa. To belie Eve. Like, in other words, to be a little naive. Like, I think so. I don't know. I'm not sure what I believe anyway. I'm a believer. I don't know what I believe, but, and so to give a little, so whenever somebody would say then, and since we have been put under a spell, this is a great example of how they put us under a spell, because then they're saying really, when they say I believe in Jesus, they really said, well, I give a little credit to Jesus, because it's a code. And so let's talk about a couple things that we learned in school. Okay, so they tell us the four elements, right? The four elements being air. They say air, fire, water, and matter. Okay, I don't have a school book in front of me, so those are sometimes it may vary, in a different term that somebody uses. But okay, so basically, I think they say earth, but anyway, so one of them is an outright big lie, but yet two of them, at least at a minimum, are absolutely wrong. Okay, because the four elements, I should have wrote it down, that way I can be looking at it better. Okay, the first element, that we can absolutely say we know is a fact is water, right? Okay, water. All right, and then the other one, they call sometimes earth. They might use the word earth. And take the old devil. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to have you. Welcome back. And the abuse of this world is much, and everyone has been programmed. Well, we're getting deprogrammed right now. Take the old devil. So Teresa, so good to have you. And we got some new friends stopping by today, so I'm having to do a primer. Okay, just to help people out to show that we've been lied to. Okay, and so water, and look what happens with water when you put under it the word matter, M-A-T-E-R. Well, gee, they're like the same word, but one is flip over one letter. Okay, and then what do you see in the prime suffix? You see the atter. What did we just say? That it's about the knowledge of the serpent, and there's the atter right there in the word water and in the word matter. Okay, there's the serpent hiding, and you never saw it before until you got it right here. Okay, and so now we got a problem, because air by itself, what is air? Air is an ambiguous term. Is air oxygen? Well, I don't know. I don't think so. Oxygen is oxygen. And so, I actually had to go further down the rabbit hole because my point on this originally was that air is an abstract term, and so we have to be specific. And I said oxygen. Okay, oxygen is the prime element, and that's what keeps us alive. But it's not the correct statement on what the four elements are because we're talking still in a general sense. And so the element that is within the air, putting it that way, is gas. Okay, that's what it is. It is the gas. That's another element. It's it's all kinds of gases, right? There's oxygen, there's vapor and gasoline, and there's so anyway. So it's gas because that's lighter than water and certainly lighter than matter. And the gas is coming out of the water and out of matter, right? And so, but then the big lie, the biggest of them all, is fire. That it's one of the four elements. And I know, our regular listeners already know the answer to this. But and rather than do the quiz, I'll just give you the answer. Okay, it's not fire. Why? Because fire destroys the elements. The fire would light up the gas, or the fire, could burn down the trees and the forests. It's destructive. It's not an element. It's the dissolution of the element. Okay, so if it's not fire, what is it? It's light, ladies and gentlemen. Light. They hid the light from us. Okay, the prime element is light. The pure, unadulterated atoms that are falling down, spinning to earth, as we see in the illusion of the swastika that we see on pottery and on iconography all over the world. All the ancients knew that the swastika was the symbol of the light particle spinning down, the philthot, the fan, the generator of creation, the fan, the prime element. We're talking four elements. And in this order, light is solid matter. Okay, well, you'd have to call in if you want to explain it a little better. But it is the light is the atomic matter. It is the most primitive. It is where all things came out of. And so on this level, then the prime element is light. The next is gas. The next is water, and then the next is matter. So it's like, generational down the scale. Okay, and then so anyway, fire is certainly the big lie, and yeah, so that's true. Creation is evidence of something that exists, and therefore is matter in one aspect. But we're talking on these terms of what are the four basic elements, and so an element, therefore, is still matter in that sense, I guess, Hans. So thank you for your input on that. And so now let's go to the symbols of math. Okay, the symbols of math, because they lied to us. Okay, these very terrible people that run our world taught in school. Why? Because education, by the way, right? Educate, ed, means to remove. Ed is what we see in the prime word for editor. Okay, editor. And so editors, what do the editors do? They remove from an article. They say, hey Joe, you can't write this. Okay, take this out. You can publish everything else, but you can't publish that sentence right there, or take that paragraph out. He's an editor. He's edit. It's not add. It's not ADD as in addition. It's ed, ed as in remove. Okay, and so in math we have symbols, and so I'll give you an example of the only one that's correct. I mean, when we're talking about addition or subtraction, okay, or multiplication, we're going to talk about addition, subtraction, multiplication, and addition. These symbols, okay, to show you, I'm going to show you. Okay. So equals is correct. Why? Because you put a line above, a line below. They're equal to each other. And so in symbolism, that's why it means equals, because they're equal. But now let's talk about the flow of energy, okay? And you would want to write this down. If you can be looking at it, remember that I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. Okay, I hear and I forget. I see, I get the picture and I remember. So if you write down, you're going to be able to follow better. Okay, and so so let's draw a straight line. It doesn't matter how long it is. Okay, it's a straight line, and we're going to call that the flow of energy. Edit is a diet. Ninja says that's an anagram. You're right, Ninja. She's been listening too long. She's gonna. And so in other words, we died when we ate it, because diet means to die, right? In fact, if the T is silent according to original law, Ninja, diet is die. And so what they're feeding us is killing us, right? Yeah. It's also what they remove from our food and put in our food. You see? So this is why we need to know the code, ladies and gentlemen, because diet is not what you want in your vocabulary, because it's another evidence of a scam on us verbally, and also we know what they're doing to us literally in the sense of eating food, right? Okay, so draw a straight line, and a straight line now. Let's pretend that's a power cord, and so we got the flow of energy, right? The flow is so we got what we call a positive flow, right? Positive flow, straight line, whether it's 3 inches or a half inch, whatever you drew on the paper. It's a flow of energy. And now we want to stop the flow of energy, right? So we just said this is positive flow. It's flowing. The electrical current is flowing, but now we're going to cut it off. So in the middle of that line, at the very middle, draw a downward stroke, just like the plus symbol, okay? And now you just negated it. Okay, you just negated the positive flow of energy. And so what you have just witnessed is the evidence of the fact that what we call the minus symbol is the positive symbol, and the positive symbol, the plus symbol, is the negation. It is a destructive. It's also an X if you tilt it a little bit, okay? So there you go. You've been lied to all your life. They reversed. It's called a reversal. And what you will learn as you continue to listen into this broadcast is that virtually they've done a reverse on the majority of our scriptures in one way or another. And that's what I reveal here, ladies and gentlemen, okay? The male becomes female, female male, future tense, past tense, future tense. It is so vast, okay? It's an ocean of deception that they've thrown at us, okay? One best example, because if you've read the scriptures enough in your Old Covenant, then, the one scripture that says, and this is why when a man will leave his mother and father and go and cleave to his wife. But yet, according to all the stories in the Old Covenant, it was the woman who left her mother and father, and she went to cleave to her husband, and they became one flesh. Why? Because the husband is the one inheriting the estate. He's not leaving his mother and father. He stays with his mother and father because they're passing the estate on to him from male to male. Okay? So there's an outright lie, you see? And so, but we never question it, do we? We just read it and we keep going on. And okay, that's pretty good mind control then, isn't it? If we don't ever question, wait a minute, what's going on here? And and they want to, and what do they want the light bulb to do? They want the light bulb to go off in our head, right? Because that's what we say as a cliche. The light bulb went off. Whoa, wait a minute. I think I want the light bulb to go on. Okay? That was Yochelleg. She picked up on that, and shared that with me. And and I had to say it a couple times. And I'm saying, that's right. You want the light bulb to go on. You don't want it to go off. And so these tricksters, right? And so let's do multiplication and division. Again, the equal sign is correct. But let's look at the X. Let's just look at the symbols, okay? And then the division symbol. The multiplication is the X. And so, but wait a minute. The X is the symbol for destruction, not multiplication, but destruction, division. So let's find out. Okay, so let's do a math symbol, and we'll say 4 destroys 2 equals 2. Okay? Oh no, that would be 4 take away 2 is 2. So destroys. Okay, X is destroys. If it were multiplication, 4 times 2 would be 8, but it's destroying. X destroys. And so let's look at the division symbol, because the division symbol, you see, has multiplication going on. It's got a dot above and a dot below, a symbol for multiplication. You see? So they reversed it. I know this is a mind blower for you to realize what this, you're looking at it for the first time saying, you know what? You got to admit, it looks like desert's right here. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And so try stop saying good morning. Okay. Because when you say good morning, you're wishing somebody would have a death in their family. And I think one of the hardest things to ever do, and I'm still working on it, is to stop saying good morning. Okay? Then people say, that they want you to be awake. Well, I don't want to be awake, because awake is a funeral. Okay? So what are we going to do about all this, ladies and gentlemen? Are we in trouble? You don't want to be awake, you want to be enlightened. Okay? Enlightened. Let there be light. Let there be the Zorain, the original Indo-Germanic terminology for that, the Zorain. You're only going to hear this here, okay, until somebody wants to parrot me, and then, of course, it'll get around. That's okay. I love parrots, but then what they'll do is they'll control the narrative and start changing things and making meatballs out of, lasagna. And so that's the other upshot of getting the information out, because they're good at, taking control of the narrative, just like, when Captain Morgan wrote the book on Freemasonry. Then they started republishing his book after they killed him. They just republished different versions of his book and took out the real heavy stuff. You see, that's how they do it. Yeah, and you can see it now, Charlotte, right? You come on, tell me. Can you see it? Is it clear? Are you still spinning? Breathe deep. No hyperventilating. Okay, can you see it? Come on. So she never heard it put this way, and it's true, right? That they fed us lies. All they've been doing is feeding us lies all of our life. Yeah, there she goes. Affirmative. Okay, thank you. That's right. And so what about this government? They give us a government. They tell us it's our government. But wait a minute. No, it's not our government. If we ever had a government, we lost it a long time ago. Okay, but we never really had a government. It's a lie, because the Illuminati's founded America, also known as Ameriku, the feathered serpent, the Toltec god, Ameriku, okay, for the feathered serpent, also the phoenix, which flies back to Egypt every 500 years and burns up in the ashes, and out comes another serpent. Okay, there's that knowledge of the serpent again. You need the knowledge of the serpent, you see. And so our phony discovery of America happened 500 years ago. And so now they're closing up shop. They're going to pull out the ship of state. It's pulling out of the port of the Columbia, Washington, D.C., the 2 columns, symbolized by the Twin Towers, and a 500-year new Atlantis, engineered by Francis Bacon, who could have been king, also known as Shakespeare, under the pseudonym, who wrote all Shakespearean plays. He engineered this new Atlantis for the 500-year cycle. Now it's going down, and the new one, if our world would go on, because our world will not go on, it's over, would be China. China is Cana, for Canaan's land, so it goes full circle around the world at the time it's already now being destroyed, okay? So you need to learn how to read, ladies and gentlemen. That's the bottom line. So this government that is in Washington, D.C., in the White House, by the way, the White House is designed as an estate that is classic to India. And as our regular friends here know, that that India, the ancient Aryan Brahmin, which is the word sovereign, priesthood, has been running the world. The Aryan movement has been running the world from India. And they built the great civilization of what we call Egypt, which is correctly Metsar. They built Babylon. They built Greece. They built Rome. They're the unseen hand, okay? And so the White House is designed of an Eastern Indian design, okay? And so the government we have that people are claiming is a front. Actually, the official bankruptcy in 1933, the Federal Reserve Bank took over. So the real government in the head is the Federal Reserve, and Washington is just a stage. That's why they need the Zionist-controlled media to run it. Okay? Because if not for the media and if not for the movies, it couldn't hold water. Hey, Hans, good to have you. Hope to you upload this and that I can. Yeah, we're uploading it, Hans. Very good. And do stop back and be well out there, okay? Don't breathe, though, okay? Don't breathe deep. I used to tell people breathe deep. Not anymore. Get a mask and then breathe deep, all right? And so we'll see you, Hans. Take care. And he's got some interesting stuff on his channel if you want to check it out. So what we have is a pseudo-government. It's a puppet state, and they got everybody on the string, ladies and gentlemen, okay? We've got to realize that this is not our world. That is the only hope. The knowledge of who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are. How did we get here? Who made the universe? Who is he? Where is he? When is he? Why is he? Okay? Okay, I got you, Hans. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the greatest show on earth. That's why they call war theater. Perpetual war, perpetual diversion, perpetually depopulating the population. Depopulation program has been ongoing from the beginning. And what are we going to do about it, ladies and gentlemen? I guess, well, we won't be awake, and we don't want to have be in mourning anymore. We just need to smell the roses. Oh, the flow of war. I like that one. Flower, right? Flow of war, because they think the war is sweet, and they name it after the flower. And the cannon, the big gun, is the original word for the ganun, the garden. And so the big garden, which is symbolized as the sun, the garden of light, the atom, falsely called Eden, then the ganun, the garden at high noon is what the ganun means. So it also could imply the garden on earth at high noon, because Antina, good to have you. So they make the big gun the garden, the ganun, the cannon, because that's what Canaan's land means. It's the Ganun land, the land of the garden. That's why Zavram went there. Abraham went there to inherit that land, because it represented a garden. It's a beautiful place. It's part of the Fertile Crescent. As you go to the pseudo Israel today and look around, it's a beautiful place, no doubt. It's arid as well. It's got hot, cold, and dry and wet, but it's not the excellent garden like a jungle or whatever, but you know what I mean. It's a paradise where they can grow stuff. 2 seasons. Okay. So, and I'm going to give you now one example that I was reading today in the Smith's. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do words next. I just did a primer. Now I'm going to do the next part, and we're going to do a primer on words, and then we'll get into the lost books of the Bible, and we'll do the final part of the Watchers, and then I'll do a follow-up on who is this guy Adam anyway? Is he just some naked was he just a stupid naked guy, or did he know something? And if he knew something, what did he know? And if he's the father of the Aryan race, how did the Aryan race get all that superior knowledge so that they could build the temples and cut stone like we can't cut stone today, can lift stone like we can't lift it today? Who was this Adam that his family then decided they would rather conquer the world? The fallen Aryans, the Watchers, the Vekoresh, who they want us to think, because they control the narrative, want us to think are some kind of invisible creature with wings on their back that went down and had sex with women. How do you have sex with flesh and blood if you're an invisible creature? So you see, the narrative doesn't fit, but the story, the true story, does. And it's about flesh and blood all the way, Jose. Okay, and it's the offspring of Adam, the Aryans that fell, and we find it in the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden, and in particular, the first and second Adam and Eve that came out of Ethiopia. Okay, so let's go to Blinded by Those Lies, Shelley, and then when we come back, we'll pick up the next pieces of the puzzle. Okay, so I'm Desert Owl. Glad you're tuned in, and still time to call your friends, ladies and gentlemen. We got a trail to go down today, and I'm glad to be here with all of you. I'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you on this broadcast today. It's a thick wick and it's a short candle, and what are we going to do about it? Okay, we've got to get up to speed, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot of legwork to do on the lies that we have received. Okay, and so today we're having a little Forbidden History 101 because we're having to learn how to make lemonade out of lemons, okay? And I guess I got to turn my air conditioner back on now because that UVC is coming down. Hang on. I'll try to do it in 10 seconds, Brett. Okay, well, I hope that was a new record, but it's all right. We're the Real Public Radio, and we can do anything we want, actually, okay? We don't have a $1 million sponsor, and we don't have anybody well, we have grassroots support. That's what we have. We have big hearts and a lot of love here, and I'm just so honored to have so many very beautiful people on the programming here. After the stuff I've seen on the internet, and on YouTube, I know we have a very special group, and we probably scared those others away. You know what I mean? We probably do because they can't handle love. It's well, we've seen them come around before with their hate and their nonsense, and it'll always be that way. That's the nature of this world, unfortunately. I'm taking a shot of my C60 right now. That if you're not familiar with C60, do a search for carbon 60, ladies and gentlemen. And I get the good and cheap carbon 60 off of Amazon, olive oil, and it helps you to recover from a workout really well, but it also is a foundational product that cleans out the toxins from your body and what have you. So just do a search on it. You'll learn about C60, okay? It's another one of those things they wouldn't want us to have and may not be around very long either. Okay, so we're in words now, okay? We're going to talk about because you're going to hear me transliterate when I read things, and you're going to say, "Okay, what did he say?" And so I want to get you excited. Okay, I want to get you excited about what's called Eshavors. Okay, Eshavor, that is the power word that they hid from us. The word Esha, ladies and gentlemen, but yet they put it on a map. We saw it all of our lives. Nobody ever said, "Hey, you see that word Esha over there? Man, do you know?" I said, "Man, I just cursed. I can't believe it." I don't believe anything. What am I saying? Okay, see the problem? Okay, man is criminal and sinner, and it's something worse in the Babylonian Talmud, and it's prime root of the moon, which is darkness, the Luciferian symbol, and then believe. I just shot myself in the foot, and so how do you stop using corrupt terminology? Okay. Let's talk about another lie right there. There you go. Thank you. You found it. Okay. So look at what that map says. You can tell that that's a map of North America. You can see Mexico and going all the way down to Panama, right? You can tell. And there's Alaska. It's not a very good, drawing, but we get. Oh, there's Baja. You can see Baja California. In Mexico, Baja California, and all of that, right? Colorado River. They got it all there. They just didn't draw a picture. They got the Mississippi wrong, didn't they? Oh, they did that on purpose. I know they did that on purpose because they would not want people going into the Gulf and looking for you see? So even they lied on the map. They lied on the map. They did that on purpose because, that was the right into the heartland. But they got it on the East Coast. It's a lie. They got it all turned around, and that I never saw that before. But now that we're talking about lies today, it's loud and clear because that's how the merchants would do it. If you had a secret place, hey, Valerie, good to have you on our broadcast. If you had a secret place for the first lesson, we're good. We're doing 101 today, so you made it just in time. All right, we have the first part. We just came back from a song, so you can listen to the first part and replay it later. Okay, but so look at the map. It says America, Civ India. I'm not sure what the word Civ is off the top. But Civ, I see the word Eve is in there, the prime root of the word Eve, which symbolizes then creation. Oh, serpent creation. There's the serpent in the letter S. Remember, it's about the knowledge of the serpent. So America, serpent creation, the new of New India. Okay, India Nova is New India. Okay, so this, ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing it here first, explains why the tradition. Do you ever wonder why they call the traditional Native Americans Indians? Okay, like, as if to say they're from India. Well, guess what? The reason they called them Indians is because they were enslaved by the Aryan culture through their shipping, okay, world domination. And so they claimed all the native peoples as their slaves to be used for whatever purpose at any time. And we saw it happen with the Jesuits later on in time with the Jesuits. So prior to the quote unquote United States of America, way back when, the place was called New India. Okay, and that's why they call them Indians. You see, and so once there was a switch out that was going to happen, and they knew that they wanted to make the new world, this secret world that was secret for them, into their next, what they call the Great Experiment. They've been telling us for years here in America. Oh yeah, it's America's the Great Experiment. Okay, like you're experimenting. Okay, because freedom is not an experiment. Freedom is a legitimate cause. And keep your hands off me and don't experiment at all. I don't like anybody experimenting on me. What are you talking about? You see, it's a metaphor. The experiment means anything they want to do to you because it's their plantation, slave. And so, okay, so that explains then why. Get this, Christopher Columbus, then the phony discovery of America, Columbia. There's your Columbia, the two columns, Columbi, that. He comes over and it's a phony discovery in 1492, right? And then we have our 500-year cycle we went through. But what did they say? That Christopher Columbus was looking for the short passage to India. Well, wait a minute. India is in the southern hemisphere, on the other side of the world. If this were a legitimate story, that he were looking for India, then Christopher Columbus, notice the first name is Christ, he would be the laughing stock of all maritime history. What are you doing in the northern hemisphere looking for a shorter route to India? And so it's a metaphor. The story is a metaphor. He's looking for India. He found India. It's America, the serpent creation of the new India. The serpent creation of India new is what it says. It says literally, America, the serpent creation of India new. On the map, right there. There's Chiliaga. I don't know what Chiliaga is. It must be a hot zone. But anyway, so this map, it came out. It wasn't supposed to come out, ladies and gentlemen. It was in a giant volume in some wealthy estate or mansion or castle up in Scandinavia, and then the book was stolen out of the library, and then it ended up on an auctions, like maybe in New York, Christie's in New York or something, and so then they realized that this was listed as a stolen item, and therefore recovered. But the truth came out. The truth came out, and Nova is Avon. Because you want to look like a star, ninja. That's why Avon is backwards for Nova, because Nova is a new star, and Avon is the anagram for looking like a new star. You see, they know it. That's how they do it. Okay, so I'm going to give an example of a word I was reading today, and so it's I have Smith's Bible Dictionary from the 1800s. It's a classic. And so I go through the alphabet every day, and I was in A, and then I just look one or two words, and I go to the next alphabet. And that's the way you work through dictionaries, ladies and gentlemen. It takes a lifetime, but you eventually see some things you never could have imagined. You got to turn the pages of dictionaries and concordances and lexicons, and it's far better than digging dirt, because you can dig dirt, and they're going to take any of the gold that you find anyway. So, get the real gold, the treasure in heaven. Yeshua said, lay up treasure in heaven. That's the throne of your son. That's the soul of uh, of your mind is the reflection of the sun. That's what the word soul means, sun. Okay, and so here that was a good lead in, because here this word I was looking at, it's a name of somebody, and it's Abdiel, and it said the servant of God. And when it said that was the meaning of it, then immediately I got the picture of what's going on. Because so I'll show you, the problem, what we have to do. I'm going to type. Okay, so while I'm talking, you can be looking. All right, that'll help you. Remember that I hear and I forget. I see and get the picture and I remember. So let me type Avdiel becomes in the original. And I want to welcome all of our new listeners today. Great to have people who want to be enlightened, don't want to be educated, but wish to be enlightened. And it's pretty exciting. It's a great irony to wake up to the fact that you've been lied to all of your life, and that somebody's been playing a game on you, and they come under the cloak of religion, and then they want to drink your flesh, eat your flesh, and drink your blood at one point, or at least of your little ones, And so there's the word. Okay, so I spelled it wrong. The first word. Geez. Okay, Abdiel. Okay, so Abdiel. There it is. It becomes Avdeyal. Avdeyal. Okay, Avdeyal is therefore. And when it said a servant of God, well, you see the word God exists in our nature. It exists only in the occult world. The word God, which is dog backwards, because the priests are the dogs that do the bidding of their master, and the Papa, the Father Pope, the original word is Elohim, but Elohim is a corruption as well, and El is a corruption. They're built upon corruptions because they couldn't give us the original thought. Because then we can be set free, ladies and gentlemen. So you're getting the original thought here, which is also known as the Indo-Germanic mother tongue. Okay. It's a deep science. I know that, this can bore a lot of people. I guess some people could be, I have no interest in this, and that's fine, but I have a few that actually do. And for me, I'm compelled to, and I'm excited about sharing it because I know what I've got. I know what the Father has given me. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. Okay. He reveals it. Yeshua is a revealer. Sing it, brother. Thank you, Tina. I just met Tina just this week. She just popped in, and there she is, and she's singing along with us. She can sing the tune too. Okay, she gets it, and that's really exciting. So servant of God. When I saw servant of God on Abdiel, then immediately I realized what the word was about. Servant of, because it was Elohim, servant of Elohim. And so the question would be then, if we look at this word, Avdeyal, well, literally what it means is, because AV equals star, okay, star, and then DL, see, DIEL is correctly spelled this way. No, my head is spinning now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so see, this is how we go back. The corruption, DL, is dial. It's, what a dial is. We used to have the rotary phone. You got a sundial, right? Anything that goes round. But it's correctly Dayal. And so remember, I said that Yal was at the beginning of Yeshua's name. Yal, Shulin, Va, in the most primitive, where we say Yeshua to help everybody out. We don't want to lose everybody. But correctly, the primitive is the Yal, Shulin, Va. And so there's the dial. So Avdeyal then means literally the star dial. Well, remember we talked about lantern. They liked the lantern because of the lanterns. Well, guess what? This is the star dial, and the star dial is the sun. It can imply the earth that is spinning, or it can just apply the illusion of the star going around. But the star dial, okay, is really the earth in the primary sense. But it makes the connection with the sun, okay, and that's why if you noticed, all your life you may remember hearing somebody talking about Sun worship. Oh, they were worshiping the sun. Sun. Whether it was the Persians and the Mithraeans or the Native American peoples. I read the book "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee," and in there, one of the Native peoples is saying, they think that we worship the sun and worship the moon, but we don't worship the sun. We recognize that it is the great symbol. Oh, did you not hear the word logo there? Like in the beginning is the logo, which in the King James is the word, but in the Greek it's logo, right? In the beginning is the word, is the logo, and it is a logo is a symbol, and we direct our attention towards the great symbol. We know that through that symbol came all life. Okay, so this is why they've corrupted our minds in thinking that there's sun worship going on. All of my study of ancient history and of religion, I don't know any cultures that worship the sun. That's the big Masonic lie, and the Vatican lie. Okay, because they want you to get caught up in there. But yet, look what that all-seeing eye was on the back of the dollar bill. Well, geez, they put their eyeball right in the sun, in the top of the pyramid, the top pyramid. All right, they put the eyeball in the sun, telling you that it's the symbol of light. Isn't light, let there be light, mean let there be vision? Let there be light, let there be vision. Let's see. Then what does it say in 1 John? That Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, is light, and in him is no darkness at all. Is light, and in him is no darkness at all. So the light shines in the darkness, and let there be light, because then the darkness goes away, like the cockroaches that flee. So I'm trying to show you something I just discovered today in one word, which I can take back to its primitive element. You see, El would be Ul. See, so El being a corruption, ELL is actually okay, which we see today in our modern as okay. Here we go. See. Oh, I spelled that wrong. It should be, I'm kidding. Multitasking here is a little challenging. Okay. So L, or which would just be EL, okay, is correctly Ul, OOL. In other words, they took the vowel L to the L, as I said, right? The vowels are, they say vowel, there's the L in it, right? But it's the vowel Ul. They took a vowel to the I. They took a vowel to the I is that obelisk again, because a straight line, you can call it an I. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Okay, here's the next word, the perfect entry. Okay, so the word mist. There's a code going on in I think it's in the second chapter. I didn't write down the very scripture. We also call scriptures passages, by the way. Rather interesting, right? It's like going down a passage by reading a scripture, which correctly in the original scripture is shultre, and scripture shultre, and shultre is we find it in medicine today as sutures. The shultre, the scripture, the sutures tie everything together. So the scriptures, the shultres, tie everything together. And it's like going down a very narrow passage sometimes, but yet it can expand big time at the other end if you can see and read it for yourself. That's all the great mystery. So in there, it talked about in the second chapter of Genesis, thereabouts, it says that then there was, after the water and the land are here. We got water, matter, and water. The land is here. Then it says that then a mist came up out of the garden in the King James, but in Philo said it was a fountain. And a fountain is a creation. And Kip, how's it going? Right. Okay. Yeah, I know you were moving. We texted earlier. So, right. Well, be safe. Remember that always home. You're safe on the road, and then you go home, and they say more accidents happen at home. And when you're moving, you're more prone to those things. So just be careful and remember that. Okay. That way we can get you back. And but good to have you, and thank you for sharing our channel with so many of your great friends. You've got a wonderful group, obviously, you've developed over time and communicate with. So, okay, so let me get back to mist. So it said a mist came forth. Now, interesting, because the word, I just saw that word mist. Oh, they used it actually on a documentary, and I should have wrote it down, because what did they say? Oh, geez, I blew it, because the word was being used in another category. And now I've lost it forever, I bet. We'll find out. But okay, it's all right because I got the real meaning anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay, shh, don't tell anybody, but I got it right here. Okay, so I have Waddle's dictionary, and Waddle, he's like nobody's ever heard of him, because he figured it all out. He figured out, of course. And remember, this is 100 years ago, and he's saying that the Sumerians are Aryans, right? He's saying they're Aryans, and this is a Sumer-Aryan dictionary. But who are they saying the Sumerians are today? Oh, they're saying they're Anunnaki. Anunnaki come down from some dead solar system. So how can you have life on another planet with a dead solar system? And they kind of like fly in every 35,000 years, and Anki and Bubba, they came down and they ruled for 120,000 years. And okay, so now there's a Viper program, and there's a Viper as a serpent that bites you and you die. You know what I mean? And that's why you need the knowledge of the serpent. That's what Yeshua means. The knowledge of the serpent. Be wise as those serpents, but don't suck up their venom or you're going to die. Okay? Because we know that the ancient culture, and Waddle got it all. He's even saying that the Sumerians were a sister satellite civilization to Maitar, falsely called Egypt. Right? And that all the diction. He says that today in our modern English, we're actually speaking 70% of our words have a direct correlation going back to Sumer. Okay, it's an Aryan culture. It's an Aryan thing. There are no, this thing about sky gods. You see, who would be called a sky god or a sun god, other than the children of Adam, who came out of the throne of the sun, the atom, which falsely is called Eden. That's the corruption. That's the code for the atom. The sun is an atom, and that's also known as the third heaven, by the way. And Paul said he was taken up to the third heaven. Enoch, we read about Enoch, he was taken up there. He describes what he's seeing in there. And I think even in the Revelation of John that's was held by the Essenes, I have a copy of. I haven't read it in 20 years. Got to read it again. But it also, I believe, Yochelleg was taken up by vision into the throne of the sun. And so who would be the sky gods? Who would be the sun gods other than the one that was going to had all the knowledge? All the knowledge of creation. Wasn't Adam taken up to the Eden, the atom, and there while Yeshua made all things, he named all things, right? And then he comes down, he falls asleep, and that's his coming down into the lower garden. Said he was taken out of Eden and placed into the garden, and then he wakes up. That his falling asleep is coming out from one paradigm into another paradigm. Then he wakes up, he sees his other half. He's a divided creation. He's now no longer one in spirit, but is now male, female. And he looks up and he says, wait a minute, I know who you are. You are the mother of all living. And so just like he named everything else on earth, he names her. Then he says, you are Keva. Keva, meaning having the fiery keys of the serpent, having fiery keys of the creation, and she therefore represents the virgin light of the sun. If she's the mother of, and she comes last, she came last, right? And he says, you're the mother of all living. So that which is first came last, and that which is last came first. And that's an axiom that also fits Yeshua, right? Because physical matter is female. And these are metaphors in the metaphysics that nobody else talks about. So you're going to have to stay with me in this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it's a bumpy ride at times, but you know what? I like getting to the fresh mountain air, out to the top plateau where you can see everything, And so literally in his book, in his dictionary, the word for eagle is ankha, okay, but they then translate it as mist, and then they say that it means eagle, and it also means a passageway, and so it was like, okay, how does it connect with the passageway? Connect with an eagle, and then I got it. It took me a little bit, and I saw it because you see, my contention is in that scripture where it says, and a mist came forth. Okay, well, we already had the oceans, we already had the land, and then a mist comes forth. And what's the next thing that happens? Adam is formed, and the narrative is that he's made of red dirt. But I'm telling you, he was made from the fiery magma of the volcano, the mother's breast, Elohim's breast. Well, the woman has the symbols of the volcanoes on their chest from where we come from. And when a baby is born, the first thing it wants to do is turn back towards where it came from and suckle on the breast, right? That creates a metaphor, right? Creates a picture. And so we have to turn back from where we came from and nurse upon it, because he was not red dirt. Adam means blood clot. Like in the Native American tradition, they called the first man blood clot boy. Now that's when the light bulb went on. Didn't go off, it went on. And that's when I realized that, yeah, it's not red dirt. It's the blood of the earth. He is the blood of the earth. That is the correct term for Adam. Adam has been transliterated as man, but that's a criminal and sinner, and that's of the darkness of the moon, when he was represented the light. You see, so they reversed it. There's your reversal. We talked about reversals, and he's representing the light of the sun. He comes down with all knowledge, and I'm going to show you that he was the most knowledgeable of all creation that was ever made, is Adam. Okay, because he came out of the sun, and while Yeshua made all things, he was commissioned to name all things. That's where we get the word dictum, because in the Strongs, when you look up Adam, you find the other half of his name, and it's Dick. And Dick for dictionary, Dick for creation, Dick for dictum, Dick for dictate, and of course Dick is a slang, for the male, but it because it's a symbol of creation, you see. And the first creation is the meaning of the word itself. A shavor is the royal eye at the center. The royal eye at the center is the word, but they removed the center of the words. They abbreviated the words. They changed the letters, and they destroyed it. So you can't go back to the royal center unless we can reconstruct these original meanings based on the Indo-Germanic that they stole from us. And that's why they're now doing a major play up on the Sumerian culture and giving a false narrative of Anunnaki and, these, because the true sky gods, look at all the other races, okay? Not to denigrate. It's not to denigrate, but look at the Aryan in comparison. Blonde hair, blue eye, white skin. That represents the sky god, the sun god, because it was an Aryan race that Yeshua was going to come through in Yerushalayim Shalom. It was an Aryan culture that he had pegged, that he had created at the end of all the other creations to come through. The vine on the tree of creation, the vine. You are the vine, I am the husbandman. Didn't he say that? Right? So he didn't say you were the tree. He said you are the vine, because we're coming down on the vine, the vein. The vein is the vine. That's how they changed all the words. So what is the mist? And what, how does a passageway connect with an eagle? It's because it is the eye. And literally, so an eye came forth, an oculus, an eye came forth, a fountain, as Philo says. Fountain is a creation. That's why our letters are called fonts. What type of a font do you want to use? Fontaine means made with your hands, the 10 fingers, fontaine, okay? So there's a little primer for you today, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to keep going down the road. Well, let me give you a couple more words, okay? So, we talk about what I call these negative terms are the cyber codes made by the priesthood to trick us, And so, do you really want to worship? Well, worship is worship. Do you really feel like a warship? Like you're going to blow your Ganun at somebody, your big cannon? So these are play on words. So what we can do instead of worship is we can homage. Homage, the word om, which modern day Christians, are having aversion to because they see it coming from the East and they think, oh, no, not om, no. Well, it's one of our words. Don't you want to go home? Don't you want to go home? H-O-M, Homa? Homa, the om, the place of the sound. Om is sound. Om backwards is mo, for mother. It's the mother sound. You see, they prejudiced our minds by running the bullpits with Freemasons and Jesuits, and said, don't even look. I remember when I came into the world and hearing the pastors and the preachers, they said, don't look at nature. Don't look at nature, because God's not in nature. No, God, he wouldn't be in nature. Why would he be in nature? No. He's invisible. You can't see him anywhere. He's nowhere, No, he's in all things. He made all things, and his spirit is behind all things. He is the first atom. And if he's the first atom, then he's all successive atoms by virtue of creation. It's the duplicate. That's why okay, so here's Thomas. Let me I'll prove it to you. I'll show it to you right now, right? Thomas. Thomas. It's actually okay. It's actually with an H the way we spell because they wanted to corrupt it. Thomas. Correctly is Toma, Toma, which is an anagram for Atom. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. You see it? See how they work the code? And that's why he was called. We heard him say that he was the twin, right? No, he wasn't the twin. He was the duplicate, right? He's a duplicate. They actually are trying to propagate that somehow Thomas is like a twin brother of Yeshua. No, it's just like the word Adam. Okay, Adam, which is A-D-A-M, but correctly it should have an O. Okay, you see that Adam was a duplicate of Yeshua. Aryan race, had all knowledge, comes down. He's the most superior on earth, just like Yeshua is the most superior in all of creation. You see, but he was a lower creation and therefore did not have the perfection in him, and therefore that's why he fell. Okay, and he was destined to fall. That was preordained so that Yeshua could then become the star ram, and save us. Okay, and so maybe just okay, I think that's good enough for the words now. All right, I'll give one more since we're talking about Adam, and I did this on Ninja Cat 111, but we'll do it here as well. Okay, so we hear about the fact that Esau, which is a corruption because Esau is actually Ashayach. No, it's not Ashayach. Ashayal. I got to, keeping this all in my head. You can imagine as a juggling act. Ashayal, because he was the hunter that went around Esau, but then he kills Nimrod. If you read the book of Jasher, we find out he kills Nimrod, and then he gets back the clothing that was stolen after the ark landed, and Noah took the bodies of Adam and Eve, and then he has the clothing, and then it was I think Canaan that stole, or I can't remember which one. Ham that stole the garment of Adam, and then ultimately Nimrod steals it from him. And Nimrod is wearing the Aryan, the first father of the Aryan race, the clothing that was made by Yochelleg and the great Elohim for Adam, because they were naked. And so Nimrod is wearing the garment. He becomes a great hunter, but then he's killed by Esau, who is correctly Ashayah, the royal eye that goes round. Why? He had a hunter's eye. He had the eye. He could shoot, and so he's the royal eye that goes round. Ashayah, as we talked about Yal a little bit ago. Okay, and so he kills Nimrod, and he takes the clothing and he wears it now. Okay, and so when he goes across the Jordan into the east, which today is the land called Jordan and also Petra, well, that was Edom. It sounds like Eden, doesn't it? Edom, but right. But he calls it Edom, and yet if he had sold his birthright to his brother Jacob, correctly Yochelleg, means seed of light. If he sold his birthright, doesn't it make sense that he would want to somehow maintain being the firstborn? And what better way could there be to maintain that you're the firstborn and you got a sovereignty of your own, that you then steal the clothing of your very first great father, Adam, and you got his garment that Yahweh made, and then you're going to call your land not Edom, but Adam. It was the land of Adam east of the Jordan. Okay, while we have Genum, the garden, the promised land, on the west side of the Jordan. There you see the duplicate again, the duality of what's going on. And then ultimately, then we got this guy named Herod who takes over the throne in Yerushalayim Shalom, a seed of Esau, correctly Ashayah, an Idumean, and you would never figure out unless you did some study that Idumean, the letter I in front of it instead of an E for Edom, is an Edomite. Idumean is an Edomite. You see? And so how they've stolen the words from us, ladies and gentlemen, Idumean is Edom, Edom is Adam. Go back to what is first. What is first is true, correct, complete, not misleading. That which is first is superior, and that which is first is essential for getting the picture. Confucius said, I hear, I forget. I see, I get the picture, and I can remember. How can you forget this now? That Edom is Adam. It all fits the narrative, you see. Okay? It's the confusion of words, ladies and gentlemen. They've confused our thinking. They've changed the Indo-Germanic into Aramaic, into Hebrew, into Greek, into Latin, into English. How many times removed are we from the original source? And don't you think it might be important to go back to which is first? What was breathed into Adam through the nostrils, the nasal, and that's where we get the word the Nazare, not Nazarite, the Nazare, the Nazare, those who came down that with that pure knowledge that was breathed into them from the beginning. Okay? And so we're going to now read the last part of the Nazare. But since we're talking about the sinister nature of things, those very sinister priesthoods, and we have to be set free, and most of us at one point when we first woke up probably thought of ourselves as a patriot. Shelley, let's do that other Carl Klang song, and on that I'm the resistor. Okay, we've got to resist the lies, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to stop saying good morning and that you want to be awake because you'd rather be enlightened. You don't want to be a funeral, okay? So you know you heard it here first, right? And I hope you're telling your friends, because we've got to have a revolution in thinking. We need to see and read it for ourselves, and we need to be set free. The truth will set you free, but then you'll find yourself very alone and feel very much like a fugitive, ladies and gentlemen. I know it for a fact. So I'm Dezert-Owl. Glad you tuned in. Hope you're telling your friends. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this rather profound song. Hope you'll enjoy it. And you did tell your friends, right? Okay. Good. Thank you for doing that. And I know Kip told his friends. Wow. Thank you, Kip. And all of you out there for your support, for all your wonderful comments. Okay. We'll see you on the other side. I need a break.
Did you think your plans were secret when you left your office last night and you closed the door behind you? Were you walking in your sleep, or were you just too tired to notice all the watchful eyes upon you? There's the man who does the maintenance and the maid who cleans the carpets in the hall, and the guard down in the lobby through a hidden TV camera saw it all. Habits and your random acts and patterns, and I've learned you're not a nice guy, and you're full of this deception. It's your secret silent weapon and your modus operandi. This little birdie told me who was talking to a fly on the wall. So when you think nobody's looking, I'm the eye that passes by you. When you think nobody's listening, I'm the listener. I'm the resistor. Now I could be your next door neighbor who dropped by and ask a favor, who pretends to be your brother, or a member of the order who's a secret Sunday soldier from an underground militia. I might even be your butler or your chauffeur who just opened your car door. I'm the butcher, I'm the baker, I'm your future troublemaker. I'm the guy that used to date your little sister. I'm the resistor. Sing your little stories till nobody will believe you anymore, and you can pot your deadly schemes and say it isn't what it means, but let me tell you what it means. This means war.
Okay, and that was a wonderful song by Carl. That was one of my favorites of Carl's. He just how does he do that? You know, we all have our talents, I guess, right? And he wrote the all-time classics of the last century of the political shenanigans that were going on. And welcome back to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host.
Okay. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I didn't know if my microphone was on or not. I've turned down the stream. Yeah, so I can't hear anything at the moment except you. Yeah.
Perfect audio. Anybody give me an audio check? Come. I hear you now. Is that why nobody could hear me? Could anybody hear me out there at all? I'm trying to find out if anybody. I guess nobody can hear me in the chat, right? We got a problem. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. Thank you, Tina. I hear. I don't hear her. I'm here. Well, she says she can hear us, but obviously we can't hear her. Okay. And thank you, Kip. Oh, Kip, you're still with us. Okay. And so, except not on Skype, she can't. So we don't know what the problem is then. I can't. We may have to do a three-way privately and figure this out. All right. This is like an on program test. It's like not the best thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, but we're, like I say, they got all the money. We don't have any money, but we do get it done on a song, a wing, and a prayer. And of course, all of you are prayer out there. And okay. All right. All right. We'll get people bored if we do this much longer. We better just have her call in on the other phone, Shelley. Okay. We heard it. We heard her. They heard her initially, but not me. Okay, so when you switched out and got me on, then it looks like maybe they can only hear one or the other. And okay. Okay, we're gonna hear from Ninja real quick, and then we're gonna get into the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden. Okay, and don't try again. Call in on the phone, Ninja. Just use the phone. Okay. We can't stall here. All right. So we tried. We didn't do it. Let's get on the phone. Okay. She's on hold. Don't be on hold. Hang up and call. Or I got to, All right. I'm going to start reading. All right. Okay. So you have to go back and listen to the other. We'll get this figured out another time. That's right. All right. So, this is part 4. This is the final part now, ladies and gentlemen, of the saga of the fallen watchers. Watcher, there's no W, okay? Once again, the problem is with the Eshavors, these words that they killed us with, okay? Because we can see what look like W's in old script, right? But the W is made from the M. The M is flipped over, and obviously you get a W, right? We talked about water and matter. But by nature, in our alphabet, we don't have a W. The W became the surplanter for the V, okay? And as Confucius said, signs and symbols rule the world. They're telling us that with the VW, VW, don't forget VW, and it's like a little joke. It's a code. And in the circle, by the way, in the circle is the VW, and the circle represents the sun. Okay, and that's why that little VW is round, right? It's round like a little beetle. That's why they called it a beetle, because it's like the sun. You see, and so they were playing the Zionist game in the with their Yiddish, and and there's so much to elaborate on in this, but basically they put their codes right in front of us and each other so they don't forget. It's the way the game is played. So so the V is the origin. That's why you hear people say Yahweh, but it's correctly Yavohe, Yavohe. Okay, and there's the ancient Germanic right there. You hear the affirmative, Yavo. You see, vol for volumes of creation, for infinity. You see, Yal for that which goes round. What goes round? Sun and moon. Okay, the earth. All are spinning in one sense or another, right? In the great cosmic scheme of things, right, Ninja?
Yes, does it? Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yep.
All right. Well, we tried, but we'll have to do it privately and see if we can work this bug out. So we don't want to do it right now. All right.
Yeah.
Speak up.
On my end, I've got 2 Forbidden History Lives. So I'm thinking that one is the one that you use when you're commenting and going in the chat, like how you're logged into it, and the other one is Shelley's end of things. So I don't know how the Skype.
No, I don't. There's only one Skype. Okay, I don't have a Forbidden History Live Skype. Okay, she does. So. Well, then you need to delete one. Then you should delete one. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, it's all right. We'll figure it out later. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been writing things down, Desert, and wowing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know where to start. Okay. Firstly, I've heard you say this before, but I just want to know again because I didn't write it down at the time. Back when you were doing the Forbidden History series, and you were doing readings, and Young Love was doing readings, you referred to man as blood of the earth, but now you're referring to man using just a single word, and I don't know what that is because I didn't write it down when I heard you say it. So
okay, well, so the problem is that we have to go back to the original. So we have a word that is called Adam, and Adam, they say means red earth. I said that's incorrect. It is actually the blood of the earth. We are the blood of the earth. Our red blood that flows through us is symbolic of the magma that flows through the earth. Again, another correlation that lends evidence towards what I'm saying is true, correct, and complete. But in our translations of our scriptures, sometimes they translate Adam in the scripture as man. And so they're using, the Zionists have interpolated within our scripture a negative terminology, man, which is a symbolic of the moon by its prime root of MN. So it means darkness in that sense, because Adam represented the light. He was the star ram. He was the one who named all things in creation, so he represents the light and not the moon. And so that's why man in Old English means criminal and sinner, because it's of the darkness of the moon, like a werewolf symbolically, or monsters, that go bump in the night, of the moon. The demonic, there's the word demon, is in the demon.
wow,
Okay?
wow,
Yeah,
wow.
and that means mental condition. That's a mental, people that have mental conditions were said they have a demon.
I'm in darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and so
Wow.
okay, so there's no demon. It just means that they're under the control of the moon. The psyche is being influenced, and therefore, another word could be used for Adam other than blood of the earth, and the other one would be creation. We could say, we could refer to each of us as a creation, which is what we are, but also we could refer to ourselves as the Ashan. So we're transliterating sometimes the word man for Aishun, because that is the more primitive and correct terminology, because it means the royal. What does Aishun mean? A-S-H-A-N. N is a sliding board, as you see in the capital N. It means that which came down. It's the prime root, meaning that which came down. It's primary in the word nail. That's what's the primary word representing the N is nail. Nail. And N-A-I-L, which is correctly N-A-Y-L, like the river Nile that came down from the deep darkness of Africa, the Nile. So Aishun means the royal eye that came down. So what do we just say about the eagle and the passageway? That it was the eye, you see? And so it's all about the eye. That's why they got the eye on the dollar bill, you see, because they're playing on the theme. That's why when you go into the Vatican and look up at the center dome in the very middle of the cross shape of the building, where they have their mass to control the masses, then you see the little eyeballs up there. There's all these eyes that bring light into the dome of the Vatican, you know, and so they play up on the theme. They claim to be the all-seeing eye, of course, but there's somebody watching them. Bhagga Gandhi Wandi Rashish out of India, the sovereign Brahmin priesthood of Hinduism that's been running our world secretly from behind the scenes, that built all the great pyramid civilizations. They're the engineers, the watchers, the fallen ones, who that's why if you look in India, you can see more creative building of temples than anywhere else in the world. That's why they were the best at cutting stone, because they invented cutting stone. They got more temples than anybody, and more detail and more unbelievable complexity than anything we could ever see anywhere else in India. And while they're building all these complicated stone structures, they're flying around in their anti-gravity vimanas. And they got everybody thinking today, that like UFOs are coming from outer space. Give me a break. We've always had these unidentified craft, because they're called vimanas. If they'd read the Vimanika Shastra, they'd actually find right in there the blueprints, the flight plans, what they ate for dinner, and how to navigate in bad weather, you know? And then they land with these...
They're there in the ancient, stone structures. The pictures, they've carved them into the stones. They're there for everybody to see.
That's right, and they're painted on the temple walls inside the temples in India. And if you look at those temples that are like a really long pyramid, sort of like a donut or something, I don't know how to explain it, but at the very top of these very tall structures in India that are pyramidal, but they're not like the Egyptian pyramid. They're very, very long, and they gradually go to a point, and then at the top there's a donut. And that donut represents the anti-gravity vimanas they used to fly thousands of years ago, back then, before the flood. You see?
Wow. Yeah. You just made me write something else down as well. Desert, I have a list of 4 things, and you're making me add to it, which is a good thing, I guess. Going back to creation, and you separated it with the Asian. I was looking at the CRE, and that made me think of creed, C-R-E-E-D, which made me think of greed, G-R-E-E-D.
Yeah, well, it's a relative term. If it's a relative term, if it's close, it's probably connected, and that's why we have to really examine all these Aishavors. Well, they're not Aishavors, they're corruptions, so the word would be correct, and put an S on front of word, you get sword, and they've done a pretty good job with their sword cutting them up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Also, do you want me to go on? Because I have more.
Let me just take a sip of my my throat tonic here, okay? Hang on a second. I can't hold the phone and up to my mic here and sip at the same time, so forgive me. But as you know, we're grassroots all the way here, and that's our funding right there, the coffee that keeps us going. Go ahead.
Okay. I constantly slip up with this word. I'm always saying person and being corrected by you. Person is serpent. What about the word
people? Person is a person, is a term we can use, but in the legal parlance, if you went into court and agreed to be in a person, it means you agreed to be a fiction. And so because it represents a corporation is a person. Okay, so we don't want to identify with it. And when you rearrange the letters, what you meant was rearrange the letters and you get serpent. There is no, it's not serpent. The T is silent. There could be a symbolic T at the end of it, but it's serpan, sherfan, sherfan is the word serpent. Yeah, in the movie Jeremiah, the general that was there for Zedekiah, the king, at the end before Nimrod overthrew the Jerusalem. His senior general was called Shurfan. So he was being called the serpent, in this in that movie Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Wow. Okay.
And hold on. And give me an audio check for Ninja. If give me 10 is best that she's coming through. Okay, I just want to confirm everybody's able to hear her. 10 is best. Give me a number that you think it if we're coming through. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ninja.
Okay. Next one.
Yeah.
I'm loving this.
Okay.
I've been thinking about this one for a while. There's scenes, like, I haven't been able to do, I haven't been able to do anywhere near as much reading as all I want to do is read and do the live streams. But anyway.
I mean, that's all you want to do with the rest of your life? Is read and do live stream? Sounds fun to me. If only it paid, right? I mean, come on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of at upper level with figuring out the OBS. I want to share it with your engineer, but I don't know how to do a tutorial on it yet because everything I've figured out by accident. But anyway, there's scenes. I keep thinking of the word essence in association with that.
That's it. That's a prime relative term. That's right. Although scene is not the correct term, I'm convinced they changed their name. And originally these are the what we would call the Nazaré. They are the Nazarites. Okay, but they this is the cover up in our history. This is the forbidden history. Because they don't want us. They have to change names and associations of all things so that we can't follow the trail back. That's what they do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. And I saw something else, but I'm not sure. I don't know if this one's going to be anything. You know how I've been noticing the little words lately? I was looking at the word yes, and with the S on the end, saying yes, I'm really paying attention to what I'm saying these days, like really paying attention to it. Yes. So I put an H on the end of it, and that's Y-E-S-H, and then I changed the E to the A, and that's Y-A-S-H. But then I thought Yeshua, but then I thought no, that's spelt wrong. There's an H missing. But am I kind of on the right track there, or is that completely wrong?
Yes, becoming yesh. Huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Yash. Well. The point is, there's different types of corruptions, but the Yah. Like I mentioned the primitive Germanic Yaval, yeah. So Yah. Right, and we see it in Yeshua. That's right. There's the affirmative right there in Yeshua. Although, but the more complete form is Yashulin, Yashulin Va. So the affirmative is hiding in the word Yah, that which goes round. So what is more affirmative than knowing that the sun is coming up every day? Yah, Yavo, it's coming around again. Yah, the dial. You see. Mm-hmm.
So Aussie slang or lazy speak from my part of the world is yeah. So is that more of a correct term? Y-E-A-H?
Well, the correct symbol is the Y. The Y is carrying the ball because the Y stands for the yellow light of the sun. That's where we get the word love from. Yellow is ya love. Ya love. You see the love that is going around is symbolized by the sun. He says, does he not let the light shine on all people, good or bad? Everybody gets the light whether they like it or not, you see. That's the ya love, yellow.
Wow. And can I give you one more? And then my list for tonight will be complete.
Is the check in the mail? Never mind. It's all right. It's all right.
I was trying to think of something funny and I couldn't. Sorry.
All right. You know, we'll have to check ourselves. That's all we can do. Is just check ourselves. All right. Make sure we're still, you know, I mean, you know, they think I'm crazy. No, they're crazy. You know, I mean, geez. Psychopathic world.
Yeah. We are the crazy ones. Yeah.
And we're both targeted individuals, right?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we
Very
are.
much so.
Right. So we're in good company.
Even,
good company.
Yeah.
And hey, there's CJ Blaze. Good to have you. All right.
Yeah. Tonight, I went out the front to look at the weather. As you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the manipulation, we'll call it, all the shenanigans today in my sky brought on some wild weather. So I went out to have a look because we could hear the wind in the chimney, and when the wind is heard in the chimney, when Mum can hear the wind in the chimney, we know it's bad. So I went out the front to have a look. And the whole time I was standing out there looking, like I'm in a pretty quiet suburb. The whole time I was standing out there looking, the typical, it's always black. They're not utes, but they're four-wheel drive truck things. Black ones and white ones, mostly black. But every single one that went past was one of those. And it got busy while I was out there, and then went quiet again when I came back inside. So anyway, so they've stepped it up here.
Yeah. They're coming for you, Ninja. That's the thing. They're coming.
I know they are. As long as they leave Mum alone.
They want to make chicken soup with you. Have you for dinner? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Kitty soup.
They'd rather leave me sleep.
Ninja soup. All right.
Me crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's okay. You know, we got to joke about it. That way, when we're at the chopping block, we can remember the jokes and have one more laugh, right? And then, then be out of here.
We need to laugh.
That's right. Right. Because, the thing is. Yeah. Well, the thing is, that this, what's coming down is going to take most everybody by surprise. And there won't be any laughing. And when they see their babies ripped out of their arms and the families split apart and in their own little rail car and concentration camps looking at guillotines, then, they will not have had the opportunity. Like, they're still trying to figure out what happened. Who am I? Why am I here? And whereas we already have accepted the reality that confronts us, and we're dealing with it, and the beauty is that we're realizing that we're not of this world, and that transcendence is all that really matters, and we are on the road to transcendence by throwing all the lies off the ship and leaving what's left, and that's only the truth about our true nature, who we are, where we are, when we are, why we are, and how we're going to get there, and what are we going to do about it, and so we're active in that process, and so that's the good news. And so Yeshua is in our favor. He's a savior. He wants to save. The problem is us, because we are so caught up in the diversions and the delusions and the preoccupations, so that all of a sudden our clock is ticked down. We got no time left, and therefore no time to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling, which is soul novation. Yeah. So we got to get on the program and sift through this, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we got to do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Yeah. I feel like my light is coming back, even though the struggle is astounding at the moment. Like the mental struggle that I'm going through at the moment
Yeah.
is absolutely astounding.
But you're but you're built
my light is switched on.
right, and you're putting treasure in heaven. Treasure in heaven is the knowledge that you put in your mind. He said, "Don't worry whether thieves can break in and take all the stuff you got, but give thanks and lay up your treasure in heaven, where no thief or criminal can come and rob you." So the treasure in heaven is what you know, that you know, and nobody can take that from you. Who you are, where you are, when you are, why you are, who you serve.
Yeah.
Right. And the truth.
And can I give you this last word, Yochelleg? Yeah.
Well, I'll take them. Sure.
Okay.
Right.
When you're talking about the elements, and you're talking about air, I just kept thinking of Aryan with air, and what are they doing today? They're
Yeah.
controlling the air we breathe.
Yeah, you see, thank you. That's a good one, because, see, that proves out the idea of the sky gods, because they're of the sky, and they're Aryans. Rayon. They're the air of creation. Rayon is creation. When it rains, it's rayon. You see, it's all in those Yochelleg.
Wow, and they
Yeah.
control the water as well. Wow.
Oh, sure, they're controlling the water. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
right. We're gonna have to give you a raise. You know, you're getting good at this.
I haven't saved any for Chronicles, but I'm sure I'll get more. Yeah.
All right.
My list is complete for now.
All right. Tell everyone where they can find you, and before you leave.
Okay.
I feel like my face is frying with this cell phone in front of me. I can't wait till they get to 5G. Jeez. Go ahead.
We have it. It's switched on
All
right
right.
now,
All right.
as we speak. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Ninja Cat 111. There it is on the screen there. Thank you, Yo Engineer. Yeah. Every Monday and Friday. She's already edited it. That's so cool.
Well, you have to do the verbal, because somebody may not be able to look at the screen, so just in case.
Okay. The Forbidden History Chronicles is every Monday and Friday on Ninja Cat 111, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time US, which is midnight Mondays and Fridays Eastern Standard Time, Aussie time, Australia time.
Right.
Translation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm learning Aussie. It's getting under me now. It's a foreign language, but I've been getting it finally. You know, I'm not as confused anymore talking to you. So, you know, good day.
That's good. Yes. I'm slowly programming you, Desert.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody worried out there? You know, they don't worry down in Australia. They're not worried. They know they got a handle on everything. So, okay, Ninja, thank you for always providing a break. You know, maybe we'll have another caller today. That would be great. 608-566-7295. We're here. You have a question? There are answers, okay? I'm not saying I have it, but we can delve into it. 608-566-7295. And we've tried Skype, but I don't know if that was a problem on Ninja's end, or if this is a problem on the altogether. So we'll find out. It would be great to get another Skype call just to double check. So if anybody out there wants to call in on Skype, we'll still give it a shot. Forbidden History Live is our Skype. Okay, Ninja, are you all right? Too many giggles. You know, good exercise for the tummy, isn't it? Oh. All right. All right. Yeah. I always figure when they put me on the guillotine, they're going to lay me down looking up, you know, and
everyone's going to listen to this and think, oh my God, there's Aussie Ninja, she's nuts.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
We're not crazy. They're crazy, Ninja, so don't worry about it. All right. No worries, right? Come on. All right. Can we get back to the program now?
Okay.
All right. She's under a lot of stress out there, ladies and gentlemen. So I always like pulling her leg, you know, because she does great work. Great lady.
Yeah, anytime I get people. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Miami keeps fun. Thank you for the break.
All right. Just remember me in your inheritance, okay? So,
Okay, I will.
all right, Ninja. Thank you so much. All right. Well, thanks for the call. See you in the chat.
Love you, Desert.
Thank you. Love you too. Bye-bye. All right. That's Ninja Cat 111. And she caught me when my channel fell and I couldn't do a broadcast anymore. And she, what's this going on here? Invite more people. What's going on in the chat? I guess, Shelly, that's, I'm going to X that out. I don't know what that's about. Something about, I'll leave it alone. I guess that was when we were trying to do you know what? I didn't click on this. I think was I supposed to click on something? You know, so we're lost here with this. There was an offer being made and it says invite more people. So I have no idea what that is. We got to test this on the site, obviously. You know, I thought that would be a bad idea to try this blind on the program. And that's okay. We now know it doesn't work. So, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the Forgotten Books of Eden, the atom, the Forgotten Books of the atom. You know, everything comes from the light, okay? And our Genesis, of course, at the beginning, and I better do another primer because what I just said that people are going to think, okay, you know, so let me just, real easy, it's real easy. I'm going to go into Genesis right at the beginning. All right. And, you know, the Masoretic text, okay, the priesthood, Masorite is Egyptian, okay? We got Egyptian text here. You think the Jews are going to give the Christians the right translation? You think that they would do that? Come on, the Masorites out of Switzerland. Masar is the original word for Egypt, so it's the Egyptian text. Don't they have an Egyptian pyramid on the dollar bill? Come on, go put two and two together. So they did switch outs, all right? They're crafty. That they call themselves the craft. They're very crafty, you know. And so just in the very beginning, let me show you how by a little word alteration you get a different meaning. Okay, so in the beginning, in chapter 1, and Genesis, by the way, is Ganesha. Okay, Ganesha, because it's Genesis is corruption. It's Ganesha. There's the garden. Ganesha. There's the word Aisha. Okay. The royal eye of the garden. That's Ganesha. This is the royal eye of the garden. What? The book that you're going to read to learn about the garden is the royal eye of the garden. You see? Okay, you don't have to make this stuff up because it's right there in the Eshavors, but they've corrupted them, so we can't get them. And thank you, CJ, for your comment. And we're trying to make lemonade out of lemons. You know, we all love lemonade, don't we? And hate those lemons. Who can eat a lemon? Jeez. Okay, so in the beginning, and I'll use the King James, you know, God, because, you know, I just want to keep it simple. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Okay, so this is what the whole narrative is going to be about. It just qualified it. In the beginning, created what heaven is a code because it would really be sun, earth, and moon. Okay, in the beginning, God, who is the great Elohim, created the sun, earth, and moon, and all the stars. It would say all the stars. Heaven is a code, cyber code. Heaven is the even. The evening, like we talk about heaven. Well, look at the even. When is the evening? The even is an evening when the sun goes down. You see how they put out the light right out the gate, ladies and gentlemen, in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, seventh word, the word of number of perfection, the seventh word. They call it heaven, and heaven is the evening, the even, the darkness. H is the word the. You got to know how the code works. You know, they didn't teach you this stuff in the school, did they? The shul, of course not. So this is how they played, just like believe, you know, give a little credit to something. You know, even the word, you know, I didn't even tell you the meaning. I'm revealing so many words here today. Some of them are so mind-boggling, you know, that I sometimes I'm embarrassed to have to tell it, you know, but like, you know, the word Yeshua, they use the word Yeshua in the Masoretic community, and Yeshua, Y-E-S-H-U-A-H, Yesh, as like yes, but with an H in it, Yeshua. Literally means in the Babylonian Talmud, may his name be blotted out forever. Okay? May his name be blotted out forever. So that doesn't sound like a very good slogan to use for our Redeemer, Yahshua, do we? No, it's not. The E is a corruption. It's an A. It's obviously an A because A is the first letter of the alphabet. A is the pyramid being a symbol of light. The the projection of light going out, the A. That's the I. That's the original word for the I. The AY is A, which was corrupted into EYE. Okay? So it says here, and the earth was without form. But that's not correct. It's not that the earth was without form. It should say, and the earth was not yet formed. Not yet formed. Why? Because the light wasn't even shining yet. The light is first. Everything comes out of the light. So continuing, so the earth was not yet formed, and void, it says, and void, but it's not and void, but within the void. There you go. The earth was not yet formed within the void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. Yeah, that's all there was out there, just darkness. And then the Spirit, which is the breath, and the breath, which is the Spirit of Yahweh, moved upon the face of the waters. What waters? The cosmic sea. The breath was moving across the cosmic sea. And then what happens in verse 3? And Yahweh said, let there be light. Okay? And so then he breathed into the sun, and the sun was ignited. The breath breathed. And then there was light, and out of the light, because the earth was not yet formed. Why? Because the earth came out of the sun. The moon, the planets came out of the sun. They are the children of the sun, and that's why they go around the sun, their mother star, to continually nurse upon her breast, to be maintained in this miracle, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there's even a YouTube that will show you the sun. Someone with the telescope through one of those major productions by NASA or whatever, they actually got a picture of an orb 100,000 miles away from the sun with an umbilical cord, still feeding it the magma, and then you literally see it break off. Okay, and it's still available today. You can see the sun giving birth to a star, to a baby star, a planet, a moon. Okay. That's the nature, because the light, everything comes out of the light. That's why we go around the sun. That's why the sun's at the middle. And that's why they had to now create a false narrative and this whole thing about, a flat earth and everything. They've moved us from center point. The center point is the light, is the sun, and everything projects out. Okay? That's the great mystery. That's how they lie to us. That's how they alter our scriptures on the sacred altar. They put it on the altar with Moloch, and then they alter it on the altar. You see the wordplay, altar, and there the word Walter, which is a form of the word water. Walter means control. Walter means control, and so Walt Disney means is a metaphor for the control of destiny. And of course, Walt Disney was the one propagating NASA, the Nazi, which NASA means deception, pointed out very well by Kip from the Hebrew Strong's. Okay, NASA means deception. So, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's just amazing what they've done. I was going to do a read, and now I've got to, we had a call, and now I got to turn off that air conditioner again. So if you'd hold on, give me 15 seconds. Be right back. Thanks. Okay, but since we're doing a primer, I'm thinking, okay, I told you what Yeshua means, but what about Jesus? Okay? What about Jesus? And because I studied the Indo-Germanic, I got it, right? Because I always thought that Jesus was, like we hear it in the Spanish, Jesus, or in the the original King James, which had no J, but it was an I, because J only came along about 200 years ago officially. The letter J. There was no J. Where does J come from in front of this Jesus anyway? Because it was Isus. Isis. Well, that sounds like Isis. Whoa, Isis. So it's the hidden woman then of the classical mythologies, right? The hidden woman. So I always thought that Jesus was just simply, the Greek Zeus. Zeus is the all supreme God. His father was Jupiter. But yet Zeus is still the supreme god. So it's a parallel story to our story from our tradition, from our ancient Hebrew tradition through Yochelleg, right? But when I was studying the Indo-Germanic, I got it all of a sudden. It wasn't Isus, the healing Zeus, because it's not the same spelling. But literally, Zeus, okay, get ready. Hope you're sitting down. Because this shows you how the Zionists that are running our world hate our guts, okay? This is really the evidence of that. Because we come from an Eastern culture, and my guy is Yeshua. Yeshua, who is correctly in the more primitive Yal Shulan Va. Yal Shulan Va, the knowledge of the serpent that goes round, meaning the knowledge of everything. Okay, there's nothing that cannot be known, that cannot be revealed. There's nothing in secret that cannot be, revealed. Okay, the nature of things is that it can be known. Okay, so Zeus. Okay, let me start with the first word because the second one is the shocker. But ye, as in yea, J-E is ye, Y-E, and it's ye, for you. Okay, and so the second part, Sus, S-U-S, is pig snout. Okay, that's the primitive Indo-Germanic, is pig snout. And so literally Jesus means you, pig snout. Okay, so now that you know, I think you'll be more challenged to want to go into the original Eastern tradition and say Yeshua, because it honors him. It's not a name. Like, okay, here's the word. The word name itself, as we talked about the other day, means to be at the bottom, because you want a title. And a title is, as it sounds in the word, is at the tip, the tit, the tittle, the title, the tip. Like the Grand Tetons, the Grand Tips, because they're like a ridge of pointies that are up on top of a mountain. That's why they call them the tips, the Grand Tips. And as we see it on on our bodies, we call it the tit, but it means the point. Okay, so title is at the highest. You can see that I just gave you the play on that, right? But look at the N for name. It's a sliding board. I said it goes down, right? Like you drive the nail, first letter N, down the sliding board, the N. And so name literally is at the bottom, and it's a corporation in Black's Law, 4th edition. Name is at the bottom. You don't want a name, you want a title. So why would we call Yeshua, say he has a name? He doesn't have a name. He has a title. It's the most supreme title, as it says in Hebrews. There is no greater name that anyone could be named other than Yal Shulam Va, or in the abbreviated form Yeshua, because it means the knowledge of all things, because he brought in the golden age of enlightenment. That's the Elijah, when it said, that in the end time there would come, then Elisha will come. Well, it's in the word. It wasn't that this guy, Elijah was reincarnated in John the Baptist. No, the word is wrong. Just like Yochelleg, Jacob, which was corrupted into James in our New Testament. James, Jacob, Yochelleg, what? Literally means the seed of light. Well, that's what we're supposed to be, is seed of light of the sun in the metaphor, because it's beyond the sun. That's the great logo. But behind it is the breath, the spirit that breathes. So, okay, so what Elisha means, that at the end of time, Elisha would come, it's a code. It's not to be interpreted as a guy's name, but it's in the word. What does it mean? And it means the El, Ul for the vision, Ele, Yal, the light of vision that goes round. You see, the enlightenment. In other words, Le for light, as in enlightenment, the eye of enlightenment that goes round. When we come into the body of Yeshua, something's supposed to happen, and it's the enlightenment. You see, but if we've been eating the cake and ice cream, and we've been bought into the false narrative on the merry-go-round of, all the lies and deceptions, as it says, in the 4 books called the Gospels, when it was originally Evangelion. Evangelion means the star message of enlightenment. So this is the star message of enlightenment, and they changed Evangelion onto gospel, telling you what they're doing to our words by switching them out. Go spell. But they know you can't do it. They know nobody can figure it out. It's too great. And it takes Yeshua to be the revealer in this great mystery, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not smart enough to figure this out. It's a lifetime of of study. 40 years in the wilderness, climbed a mountain 40 years ago to get the vision, and he left me not empty, ladies and gentlemen. So it's a great mystery. It is a great mystery. And so Sherry, real quick before I do the read now, because we've been talking, and just do a quick break. If you have another song, with some nice graphics, go ahead and pull that up, and we'll. I just need to take a small break. Whatever you got, okay? And we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. After all, what more do you have to do on the end of the world, other than to figure this stuff out, to hear something you haven't heard before? We need to hear things we have never heard before in order to compare them. I don't want just apples and oranges to compare. I want apples, oranges, grapefruit, lemons, pears, peaches, onions, whatever. I want to see it all on the table so I can see and read it for myself, and I'll make my own decisions about whether I want somebody to change out Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, into Lord God. I don't think I want Lord God. I want the original. I don't know about you, but I'm very happy to be here and share all this with you because it needs to be done, okay? And the time is short, so don't forget. You heard it here first. I'm Dezert-Owl. Don't go away. We'll be right back, right here on Forbidden History Live, what they didn't want you to know. And of course, we're going to spill the beans no matter what. that call with Ninja messed up my Skype, so I couldn't talk to you by texting. I don't know what happened. All right, good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We had some technical problems, and with that Skype call, my Skype thing got discombobulated, so I don't know what it sounds like on the call. But anyway, anything that can happen will happen in broadcasting, that's for sure. And so we're back, and glad you're still with us. Okay, we're trying to make lemonade out of lemons, and I got some humming in the background now. What's going on? All right, so. So we're there. Okay, we're there at the last segment of this 4-part series, reading out of the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden, in particular the forgotten the books of Adam and Eve, 1 and 2, and we're at the end of book 2 because we find out who these very, very wicked watchers are. And don't you know I got to turn my air conditioner back on? So hang on, cliffhanger again. Right back. I have to get a remote control air conditioner. That's all that is. All right, or a plug that goes over here, one or the other. So, who are these people? Well, they were the offspring of Adam, the most knowledgeable. After we get this part done, then we're going to go back, okay, to the beginning of this legacy of these fallen watchers and go to their father, who was Adam, okay, and we're going to talk about who this guy was, not some naked little primitive, weakling, mental midget. He wasn't a mental midget, or a stupid guy. Okay, he was the star ram, and I'm going to show you how they've changed the words. Do you want somebody to change your words, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think so. You just didn't know it. You didn't know. You accepted that these scriptures, these beautiful scriptures that we receive when we come into the world, were like gems of gold, and then we come find out that they're nuggets of coal, But the truth is still in there, yeah. But yet then it's revealed because man has manipulated it, The wicked priesthood, the wicked witch of the West, the Vatican, So and the Queen of England, of course, but and the bankers and all the other group that's going along with it. They're just yum eat 'em up, because they're the true Gnostics, and this negativity about the Gnostics. They're the claim they really, regard themselves as Gnostics. The people who gave us the Nag Hammadi, this ancient culture that lived in a monastic setting, they never called themselves Gnostics, So the terminology is not correct because they were in what we think of as Christian, even though the word Christian is not an original. Christian is a negative word in its origin, so we got to go back and Moeshayakim it would be the more correct literal sense, but really it's a graphic expression of the perfect circle of the called out ones. That's what they when they also call them the people of the way. But the other aspect of that is the perfect circle of the called out ones. We are the called out ones. We are in the age of the second born, in the golden age of light, of the true enlightenment, that which goes round, but it doesn't seem to be going around very far these days for some reason, and that's evidence of the major problem. All of them people can parrot scriptures. Jesus loves me. Yes, I know, for the Bible tells me so. But they can't interpret nothing in there. They can't even know that they're being told to go spell, and they haven't even been able to go spell it. Well, maybe if we read in the Indo-Germanic dictionary about the word read, it'll help us out, because the word read is 2 words. Okay, read is re-add. And so there's 2 words. And literally Shipley, in his Indo-Germanic dictionary, when he said define the word read, he said it literally means to re-add the riddle. Okay, re-add the riddle. Well, even our scriptures tell us to rightly divide the word of truth. And if you divide the words, then you have to re-add them up again, right? Divide and add. So this is the thing, but nobody's been telling us this stuff. Nobody's been pointing it out to us. So where are we gonna, we want to think that we wouldn't be lied to, right? Especially by our religious head. But as we've learned, all the Protestant, all the religious religion is just sold out to the Pope. They're all kissing his big toe. Protestantism was recaptured by the Jesuits, and they brought everybody under. They graduated from Georgetown University and got their marching orders to go find some church and take it over, and that's what they done. Or they compromised the pastors with beautiful women who take their clothes off in the office, and next thing you know, you don't want nobody knowing about this. Okay, what do I got to do? Okay, I got to lie to my flock now. Okay, sure. Okay, I can do that. Okay, what else? Anything else? Like we saw with who was that? Who was that guy who played the piano and sang the oh geez, he got caught in a motel room. What was that guy? I mean, he was a classic preacher, he confessed to it up in front of the audience, crying crocodile tears. But anyway, it's been so long. I used to watch all these guys on television, and so anyway. Okay, so Valerie says she says she's of the way. There you go, the way. Yeah, the way. In fact, okay, to qualify where that came from, Valerie, just to help you out. Okay, this is beautiful because remember the Levitical priesthood, but the word Levi is a corruption as well. It's not Levi. Let me type it in there. Okay, it's because we're leaving no stone unturned and no turn unstoned today. So Levi is Levi, but it should be L-A-Y-V, L-A-V-A-Y. There we go. Okay, it's Levi. Okay, see, they corrupted the word Levi as well, and it means also the bridge. Okay, the bridge, but it also means the way. Okay, and so the way is on the bridge. We're crossing the bridge. The earth is the bridge, but literally the word Levi is the way. You see, and so there's the word Levi. So in other words, remember what was unique about the Levitical priesthood? They owned no property. They were not allowed to have a possession of ownership of land, and everything was provided for them by the other tribes, right? And so they represented, therefore, what we're supposed to be in Yeshua, right? That we're not supposed to want to have land holdings here on earth. We're not supposed to store up treasures on earth. We're supposed to store up treasures in heaven, and it's through the knowledge. And so everything will be provided for us by our sovereign, And so there's the essence of that. That's where that comes from. The people of the Levi, the way. Okay, so very good. People actually figuring this stuff out on their own. It's fantastic. So all right. So we're in the last segment now. Not of today, but of the book here. I might have to do part 2 tomorrow. Actually, I'm getting talked out here. I've been on for almost 3 hours now, so I may. The who Adam was, we'll get into it tomorrow. Maybe that's what we'll do. I think I want to wind it down. Unless there's another caller out there, I'd be glad to take another call. Let me do this read first, though. Let me get to the end, and so then so we just I'll back up 2 verses so we can pick it up where we left off. Then Jared made an offering and offered it up on the altar. That's right, Valerie. Very good. And they offered it up on the altar, and Adam had commanded him. And and as he went up to the altar, he prayed to Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, for mercy and forgiveness of his blindness. Because Jared just went off the mountain; he was just deceived, and he went down to with these fallen watchers, and was appalled at what he saw with the children of Cain, and he was rescued and just came back. So then the great Elohim appeared unto Yareth, Jared, and on the altar, and Barucheth. Here's another code word. Blessed is Barucheth. You don't want to be blasted. Bless is blast. Bless you. Blast you. No. Oh, thank you very much. I want to be Barucheth. Endowed, but there's Baruch, the word Baruch, Barucheth. Barucheth with the fiery keys. Born of the fiery keys of that rule, the Barucheth. With the fiery keys, okay? Endowed and enlightened with the mind's eye for seeing in the night, and separated him and his offspring, and accepted their offerings, and commanded Jared to take of the sacred fire of the altar, and with it to light the lamp that shed light on the body of Adam. Chapter 19. I get another sip here. And want to welcome our new listeners today. If you're listening in for the first time, okay, you're going to hear some things you've not going to hear anywhere else. They got everybody speaking pig Latin and thinking that they're the most sophisticated culture on the planet and the universe, you know, and we're the most dumb, stupid, and propagandized, brainwashed chattel property that we ever wanted to meet. Then Yochelleg, who is the great Dol-of-Haim, and I transliterate while I read, so that's God, but we don't want the Pope, we don't want the Papa, the Father of Moloch. Then the great Dol-of-Haim revealed to him again the promise he had made to Adam, and he explained to him the 5,500 years. Okay, so that what that's about is it's just shy of 6,000. Remember, 6 is the number of creation, and so that the great Dol-of-Haim, Yochelleg, had predetermined that he was going to come and save mankind 6,000 years later, or just shy of that. He would cut the days short, 5,500 years from when Adam came down from the atom, from the sun, and the Aryan race began. Okay, so in 6,000 years at the end of time, that was 2,000 years ago. So it's been about 8,000 years approximate, you know, from when Adam came down from the atom, from falsely known as Eden. And that's when he fell asleep, because when he came to earth, to the lower garden, he fell asleep. He was now in the lower nature of the fall, and that's why he fell. You see? Sorry, let me lift my mic up a little bit. That's why he fell, because it was predetermined that he would fall, because he was in the fall, you know, and it was only Yeshua, the first atom, A-T-O-M, that the perfect creation, the first is made by Yahweh, all else is made by Elohim. This is part of the great mystery. Without explaining it, I can't begin right now, but I'm giving it to you. Okay, I'm giving you the seeds of light, ladies and gentlemen. You can play it back, and you can ask Yeshua to define what Desert's saying, or keep listening to the broadcast, and you can call in with a question anytime for the detail of anything that I'm presenting here. You know, how do you get this? How do you get that? I would be happy to share that, because that then is edifying. You know, there are no secrets here, and it's a science. You know, it's a science of exact knowing. It is possible to know that you know, and the bottom line is to get back to the original primitive roots, the parent roots, starting with each letter, defining the true letters and the corrupt letters, and then their 2-letter combinations and 3-letter combinations. And one letter is several words by itself. It's a paragraph. It's a story. It's about our coming into creation. Okay, so continuing, and so he explained to him the 5,500 years, and revealed unto him the mystery of his coming upon earth. And Yahweh, who is the great Dol-of-Haim, said to Jared, as to that fire which you have taken from the altar to light the lamp withal, let it abide with you, and give light to the bodies, and let it not come out of the cave. This is called the cave of treasures. Lay up your treasure in your cave, in the throne of your son. Okay, and hey Hans, you're welcome back. Okay, and Jared, take care of the fire and let it burn bright, and until the body of Adam comes out of it. And when Adam came out of it is when Noah is correctly Nova, created the ark, and they took the body of Adam and Keva on, and with the other bodies probably as well. They probably took all the bodies with them, because it's their family, and they were mummified. I mean, certainly if they took all those animals with them, they would have taken their family. Okay, but Jared, take care of the fire that it burned bright in the lamp. Neither go out again of the cave until you receive an order through a vision, and not in an apparition or a false apparition when seen by you. Then command again your people not to hold intercourse with the children of Cain, and not to learn their ways, for I am the great Elohim, who loves not hatred and the works of iniquity. Inequity is the correct term for iniquity. Inequity. Okay, see how it's so close? But iniquity is an abstract term, but we know that inequity means an imbalance, right? An imbalance. That's what iniquity is about. Balance. What is correct? What is right? And Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, gave to many other mandates to Jared, and blessed him, and then drew his word from him. And Jared drew near with his seed, and took some fire, and came down to the cave, and lighted the lamp before the body of Adam. And he gave his people mandates as Yahweh had told him to do. And this sign happened to Jared at the end of his 450th year, as did also many other wonders we do not record. But we record only this one for shortness sake, and in order not to lengthen our narrative. And Jared continued to seed plant, that's teach his children. Children's a bad word, but I can't transliterate everything here today. I'll lose you. He seed planted within his offspring 80 years. But after they began to transgress the mandates he had given them, and to many other things without his counsel, and they began to go down. Where did they go? They went down. The fallen watchers, here it is. They began to go down from the holy mountain, one after the other, and to mix with the children of Cain in foul fellowship. And now the reason for which the seed of Jared went down from this pure mountain, the fallen ones, is this, that we will now reveal unto you. Okay, and I got to make one more adjustment on that air. I think I figured out what to do. Hang on, I'll be right back. And somebody can sing or whatever, but I'll be right back. All right, redirect that air, and that worked. Okay, so, and thank you for Yo Engineer today. She does a great job, and she's eating it up. Okay, along with a lot of you out there that are getting it, and it's, you got to listen for a while, okay, because if you've not heard this before, it'll okay, how did this? What? Who am I? Why am I here? Oh, all of a sudden. You might have to hyperventilate or something. It could happen, because we've been lied to wholesale. Okay, nothing is as it seems. They kiss our babies and they kiss us off. That's what they do, right? They kiss our babies. They've been doing it all along. They kissed us off. People keep wanting to save America. Okay, let's see. So a couple hundred years ago, people claimed this land, and then all these people have been wanting to fix it for the last 200 years. I think it only got worse, right? There's only one way it goes. It goes down. Because it's controlled by an occultists that are actually working for the Aryan Watchers that we're reading about today. What a coincidence. Nothing coincidental about it, is it? Yes, it's a coincidence. It's related, of course. Coincidence is something that's related. So therefore, what we think of as a coincidence, we're trying to imply it's not related, but it is related. So it must be a coincidence. You see how they tricked us again, ladies and gentlemen. It's non-ending. We can do this all day long. After Cain, chapter 20. After Cain had gone down to the land of dark soil, and his seed had multiplied therein, there was one of them whose name was Genun. Oh, there's Genun right there. I can't believe it. It's been a long time since I read this. And Genun is the garden. His name was the garden. Gee. Okay. How about that? That sounds like Canaan, you see? It sounds like Canaan. There you go. And it is relative to Canaan. And it says he's the son of Lamech and the blind who slew Cain. But as to this Genun, the serpent came unto him in his youth, and he made him sun-dried trumpets and horns and stringed instruments and cymbals and psalteries. No wonder why they called him the garden. He's having a party. And lyres and harps and flutes, and he played on them at all times and in every hour. They were really having a party. And when he played on them, the serpent came to them. In other words, what happened was, okay, I get the translation. This is beautiful because they're using the word Satan, but of course Satan is a false creation to supplement the word serpent. But what it really means, hey, get that serpent picture up there, Shelley, okay? Because what it really means is the serpents came to them. The serpents are the people, like as I showed you with the word servant, right? I'm typing. The serpent is correctly Sharfan. You see? And so what it really said here was, I got it, you know? Boy, I can tell you, my eyes are being polished to be able to read this stuff. But so what it really meant, he played on, go figure. When it says that, and he played on these instruments, that Satan came to them, that's not, of course, what it means. It means the serpents, everyone came. Everyone came, like having, a concert, right? All the serpents came, okay? I mean, literally in the old world, when they said they had a servant, they would have said, my serpent. Isn't my serpant good? I have a good serpent. He goes everywhere I tell him to go. He wiggles and he moves left to right. He goes right to left. Whatever I tell my serpent to do, my serpent does it. He's a good servant. But the original word goes back to the sun. That's the sharfan. The sharfan is the fan, the philphot. That's where the word swastika comes from. The fan is spinning. The light particles are coming down. Okay? So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Get the other, well, you got to get your copies, and then you can translate it, read it yourself, And so Han says, some emotional, missed your, well, I don't call it preaching. I call it reaching out to the creation. May I? Oh, sure, Hans. Obviously, that's fine. Okay, I know we have a different perspective in certain areas. That's fine. I appreciate your coming by and tuning in. Okay, and let me just take another sip of my drink here. To have the great mystery of life unfold is a major deal, ladies and gentlemen. We all have to see and read it for ourselves, and that's all. I want to see things for myself, and then I just care to share with those who want to hear. It's simple. No forced indoctrination here. We're simply sharing what's important for me, important for a few others that have been with me now for the last year, and attempting to share. And when he played on them, then the serpents all came unto them, that were from among them, that heard the beautiful sweet sounds, and that ravished the heart. And by the way, this word Satan, okay? I can show you the first time they used the Satan in our scriptures, okay? And to show you that it was not some a creature or creation, but it was actually another nation. Let me see if I got my notes here. Let's see if I can find it. Lucifer, there's where Lucifer was made. Lord, New Jerusalem. I didn't come prepared to do this, but I thought I could find my tag real quick. It's in Chronicles. I know it's in Chronicles. So where's Chronicles? Ezekiel. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, all I got to tell you is what they did is when it should have said that the neighboring enemy, it was the enemy, because the word devil is adversary. It said that the looking here, spheres. That's spheres. Okay, I'm not going to find it because I can't see the tag. Okay, but instead of saying the enemy, the neighboring country, the neighboring tribe was coming to attack, they said that Satan was coming to attack. See, so that's where the switch out occurred, because they had to import within our thinking things that go bump in the night. And in other words, they don't want us to know that the real enemy is the ancient Aryan Brahmin priesthood, and that It is man. Man is the enemy. Man is the problem. Man is the serpent. Man is the accuser. When you go to court, who's accusing you? Some invisible creature? No, it's the prosecutor, who in medieval Europe was known as the Hashatan, which is the serpent, okay, known as the accuser. When you do something wrong, you accuse yourself. You're the serpent who accuses yourself, the accuser. You see? So it's a matter of the fact that they've adulterated our scriptures. They've changed everything, ladies and gentlemen. They are not pure. They destroyed the originals. They took the originals, they used them to make corrupted copies, and then they destroyed the originals. That's how they've been doing it from the beginning. Okay? So the only thing we can do is to learn the primitive root forms, and then to be able to reconstruct the narrative along with the Ashavors, with the words. Okay? It's an amazing thing to do, and Yeshua has led me down the trail, but through his visions and through revealing to me piece by piece this entire structure, and so that's what we do here. You got plenty of listening to do in our back history on 3 different channels. Okay, so go check it out. Let me continue. And when he played on, okay, so he did that. Oh yeah. Let me try it again. And so he played on these instruments, and the serpents all came unto them, and so that the iron among them were heard beautiful and sweet sounds, and they ravished their hearts. Well, how can Satan have a ravaged heart if Satan is some invisible creature, right? You know what I mean? So, and people think that devil, serpent, Lucifer, a demon, all of these are the same kind of an entity, right? Like they just interchange the words. They say devil, Satan. They don't even know what they're talking about because they don't even know the meaning of the words. They don't know the meaning of their origin, and they don't know that these are corruptions and that these were put into their head by priesthoods. And that we are the spirits. We are the spirits housed in a body of a serpent. You are the serpent. There are 2 of you. One of them has to die. And that's where the serpent is biting at your heel, and you need to be crushing its head, because the serpent is the enemy. It is the flesh, you see. And therefore, that is antithetical to spirit. And so the spirit can live, the serpent must die. And therefore, you rule the serpent, ladies and gentlemen, rather than let the serpent flesh rule you. You heard it here first. And this is the great mystery. And interesting that they don't want you to know who the serpent is, that they never tell you. Okay, and you're going to pick that part up on it tomorrow. We're going to go into that. Okay, so continuing. Then he gathered companies upon companies to play on them. And when they played, it pleased well the children of Cain, who inflamed themselves with blind action among themselves. That's sin. Sin is blind action. Okay, sin is an abstract term. So we go back to original thought, and sin is blind action, blindness, corruption, darkness, all of these aspects, depending upon the context, which is the pretext. Okay, and they burnt blind action among themselves and burnt as with fire. Well, the serpent inflamed their hearts. The lust, the passions. That's the serpent inflaming the hearts. See, but it says Satan with a capital S, and it's the flesh, it's the serpent, okay? And it's the serpent. I can't get over it. Taking a note. And so we got to transliterate as we go, because these are corruptions. These are all corruptions. So while the serpent inflamed their hearts with passion, with lust, one with another, and increased lust among them, the serpent also taught the Genun to bring strong drink out of the corn, and or the grain. Corn is grain, not corn literally, but grain. So they made beer and other brews, alcohol, and this Genun used to bring together companies upon companies in drink houses. So there's your first saloons, the drink houses, and brought into their hands all manner of fruits and flowers, and they drank together. So they had a wide variety of intoxicants. That's a good way to get people to follow along, huh? And thus did Genun, who's got the name the garden, because he's presenting the garden, but it's the lower garden. He's the guy got him going, and multiply this blindness and black action exceedingly. And he also acted with pride and taught the seed of Cain to commit all manner of the grossest wickedness, which they knew not, and put them up to manifold doings which they knew not before. Then the serpent, when he saw that they yielded to Genun and hearkened to him in everything he told them, rejoiced greatly, increased Genun's comprehension until he took iron with it and made weapons of war. So there's our Tubal and Thobal, that were the first artificers down there, right? One made instruments and the other one made weapons of war. And then they were drunk. When they were drunk, hatred and murder increased among them, and one man used violence against another to teach him dark things, taking his children and defiling them before him. Excuse me. And when the Aishans saw they were overcome, and they saw others that were not overpowered, those who were beaten came to Genun and took refuge with him, and he made them his confederates. And then the darkness increased among them greatly, until the Aishan married his own sister, or daughter, or mother. And others, and the daughters of his father's sisters, so that there was no more a distinction of relationship, and they no longer knew what was iniquity or inequity, but did wickedly, and the earth was defiled with their dark nature, and they angered the great Elohim, the focusing light. That's Judge. Judge is focusing light. That's the sun again. You see, it goes back to the sun, the focusing light of the Yud-K. That's the Yud-K. The Yud-K, meaning the light of fire, who had created them. But Genun gathered together companies upon companies and played on horns and on all other instruments we have already mentioned at the foot of the pure anointed mountain. That mountain is where the citadel of Yochelleg is today, falsely known as Jerusalem. And they did so in order that their seed of Seth, who were on the holy mountain, would hear it. And when the seed of Seth heard the noise, they wondered and came by companies, curious in groups, and stood on the top of the mountain to look down below at the valley. And they did this for a whole year. They did this. And when at the end of the year, so they were enticing them, the children of Cain were enticing them to come down. You see, the Aryans, the pure ones, the ones who, were living up there fasting 40 days and eating 40 days and just living on fruit. And some of them were getting bored, I guess. And so and of course they're being enticed, you see. And when at the end of the year, Genun saw that they were being won over to him little by little, the serpent entered into him. And he taught them to make dyeing stuffs for garments and divers patterns, and made him comprehend how to dye crimson and purple and whatnot. And the sons of Cain, who worked all of this and shone in beauty and gorgeous apparel, gathered together at the foot of the mountain. I mean, they were looking pretty good, weren't they? Certainly, yeah. And while the people of Seth, the children of Seth and Adam, were probably just wearing white garments, and but they were at the foot of the mountain looking good in splendor, with horns, blowing their horns, and gorgeous dresses, and horns on their heads, no doubt, and horse races, and committed all manner of abominations, getting drunk. Meanwhile, the children of Seth, who were on the pure mountain, prayed, creating light and rising up in the creation before the Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, in the place of the only true stars of the royal messengers who had fallen. I transliterated, so I'll read it the way it's written here. Meanwhile, the children of Seth, who were on the holy mountain, prayed and praised God, the great Elohim, in the place of the only true stars of the royal messengers who had fallen. So they were filling the shoes of those who had now fallen. They were replacing the ones who had now fallen and gone down. Wherefore, the great Elohim had called them royal messengers, or here it's the surplanting word of angel, but angel, as you look in the Latin dictionary from 1812 and the Middle English dictionary, angels are English, or the English, or the Angel Saxons. See, So Malik is the word that angel replaced, and so they were being called royal messengers, but probably also in the narrative would be watchers. We don't have the original text, so it's not possible to know, but we can derive the comparison with our scriptures. Okay, but they were the watchers because that was their job. They were at their post. They were supposed to be maintaining. Okay, they were supposed to be maintaining, and they didn't. They fell. I'm trying to write a note here. Okay, and he rejoiced, stood up in the light over them greatly. But after this, they no longer kept their commandments, nor held the promise onto the promise of his coming at the end of time, and he had made to their fathers. But they relaxed from their fasting and from their praying, which is creating light, and from the counsel of Jared, their father, and they kept on gathering together on the top of the mountain to look upon the children of Cain from morning unto evening. Morning you don't want. From the sunrise unto evening, upon what they did, upon the beautified dresses and ornaments. Well, I'm losing my voice here. Okay, and I'll tell you what, with we've been on 3 hours now, and with losing my voice, I think I'm going to put it right here for tomorrow, and we'll pick it up. We'll play it. We'll do it one more time. We'll get this thing worked out. We're going to have to do program 5. I know I'm long-winded. I had to do a primer today, though. I had to do, Forbidden History 101 and show how to transliterate some of these words and show some of the lies that they've been giving us, ladies and gentlemen. And sin is a word that doesn't really exist in nature. Hans, right? Because it simply means to have your eyes closed. As we see, the prime root is SN. SN is the prime root for the word sun. And so it has to do with light. So literally what sin means is to have the eyes closed. Having your eyes closed means you don't know what you're doing. Or you know what you're doing, but you having to close your eyes because you can't be honest with yourself. So Kip has a question? Okay, before you go. Okay, so that brings up okay, let me get my other tea here. Okay, I got some ginger tea for my throat. Hang on, Kip. And again, want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And you're hearing it here first, okay? Most likely because we don't hear this stuff anywhere else, and it is it's a major work. We have the Original Thought Transliteration Project, and we're hoping to be able to publish the translations of the scriptures based on original thought. And I don't know if we have any time left, though. That's the irony here. Hang on. All right. So, all right, Kip, where did you go? Oh, there it is. Okay. That brings a question to mind. Please explain Romans 5:13 to be sure. Sin was not in the world before the law was given, but sin is not charged against anyone's account where there is no law. Right. Okay. So as Paul said, that those that had a law would be judged by their law. Those who had no law would be judged without the law, meaning, the natural law. The natural law is we know right from wrong. We know it's not right to steal or and so it's just the difference between having a legislated body of codes, rules, and regulations that you follow, and not. Okay, so that's as simple as it gets, because it's in other words, by our conscience. If we were to act in a manner that we were taught wrong, like we're all been brainwashed, right? With our modern world, we do stupid stuff, or what we see the people doing out there, right? So part of it is brainwashing, and so there is a part where they don't know how stupid they really are, right? I mean, they're actually been victimized by the parent state, which is the government, right? Okay, so in that question, can someone ascend without knowledge of the truth? Well, again, that natural law, you see, is that the divine will is it's all about, it really comes down to conscience. Remember that, was it James who said, that our soul novation is not in the aspect of putting away the filth of the flesh, but it is in the answer of a pure conscience before the great Father of light. So the pure conscience, so if you're innocent in your conscience, that's what saves us. In other words, you could be following the law all your life, but at the same time then doing certain things that are against the law, right? And so your conscience knows, like, you're doing something in secret, that type of thing. Then your conscience knows it, and therefore you cannot stand before the great light. So if you can stand before the great light, okay, and using an axiom that is based on original thought, right? Standing before the great light, and that then you can transcend. In other words, when we come into our tradition, we think that. Thank you, Teresa. Take the old devil. I always want to know what you want to do when we take the old devil. We're going to take him out the back door, right? Okay. So when we the thing is, when we study cultures, like a good example is always Native American tradition. Some of these people live better than our modern day Christians. These people calling themselves Christians today, the Native American, the tribe, they talked about going to the happy hunting ground to serve the Great Spirit represented by the sun, and okay, Kip, thank you for posing it. Yeah, because remember that we are all the offspring of light. We all of us are the offspring from the light, and therefore the Great Spirit, wants to save us all. And so therefore, if we're lacking certain information, right, like we're talking about relevant truth here today, if we're lacking certain information, but we do the best we can based on the knowledge that we have, and do everything within our power to live a perfect life, and to do good, and to serve others, and to forgive always, and to give our help to the poor and all that. Then that's the being judged without the law, if we didn't have a law, because the Father is not his desire is not that we should be lost. The problem is that we have a dark force on this planet that's trying to keep us earthbound. Okay, so he knows the struggle, and so that's the good news. Look at what he's done with me, when in my life I came from the worst extreme, and I've been struggling to come to the fullness of that perfection within my own private walk, and I have not mastered the life yet. I'm got one foot out of the boat, ready to walk on the water. Okay, but it's a work, it's a walk. I've walked on water before in the metaphor, but then something happened, like with Kefe, right? The storm came, the wind was blowing, the lightning was striking, and I got disoriented, and all of a sudden I needed to be put back in the boat, which thank the Father above that the boat represents Yeshua's body, because in Yeshua's body, while we're working out our own soul novation with fear and trembling, we have standing. We have standing with him because we're in a covenant relationship. He's helping us to put on that perfection as we learn the great false narrative that has been shoved down our throat and put into our minds. We got to overcome the illusions and the deception. That's what we got to do first. We've got to be able to see it with our own eyes, to see and read it for ourselves, because Yeshua is our the one who takes our spy to hand and lifts us up. So there's a lot of preconceived notions about the narrow-minded Christianity that says, well, unless you but it doesn't take into account, well, what about all the other people? The other people are not discounted by the Great Spirit. He can see perfectly, and therefore he knows what's going on. He knows where people are at, and if they've got a pure conscience, if they've been on their knees all their life and didn't have the full knowledge of the truth the way we are attempting to access to it right now, he's good to go. He's not a tyrant. He's pure love, and so that's the good news. I feel like sometimes that I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Okay, even where I'm at right now, not worthy of his Trevane love, which is the correct word for divine. Trevane love. But he knows where we're at. We're like the amoeba, right? In comparison to who we are, we're like the amoeba. And so he's working overtime to help us out. And that's what's so beautiful. Yeshua is the Trevane love. And so you got one more question, Kip. Okay. So, does the spirit represent the feminine? There's been allusions to that because the spirit, by its nature, is all encompassing. Therefore, the woman came out of the side of the spirit, right? That's the first woman coming out when creation began, and therefore this is a presentation I have to do on one day by itself, because I can give the analysis of how the creation evolved male female in that aspect. So the spirit having all life androgynous, meaning male and female, but we call it father because father is the primary, is the dominant, and so but therefore we regard all of creation as mother. So father is spirit. But look at the word father. Here, I'm going to type it in there, right? Okay, hang on. Okay, so father is Fae Thor. And Fae Thor, Fae is the woman. That's the virgin light. And so Thor is thunder. Thor is the hammer. Thor is the power of creation. And so Fae is the woman with the power of creation. So there's your evidence that the mother and father are one. You see? The mother and father are one. They work. The mother works for the father. The mother is creation. And behind the physical creation of matter, which is mother, is the father. Okay? It's the spirit. And so the mother, the woman came out of the side of the father. The female came out of the side of the male. That's why it's called Fae male. Fae, all right, Fae male. Look, you see Fae Thor. So here's Fae, right? Fae male. There's Fae male. Female. You see, because the F is a corruption. The F is a cyber code that came from the priesthood because they wanted to destroy the pH. The pH is creation. The AY is the eye of creation. That's the sun. And then the male is the hammer, right? Because the guy is the stronger. The royal. So it's the eye of the hammer of the eye of creation. You got to read it backwards. The hammer of the eye of creation is the woman. Whoa. Okay. She's pretty tough. I mean, she's having babies, right? I don't want to have a baby. I mean, these women get excited about having babies. She's got to be a hammer, in order to be willing to do that. That was her job. My heart goes out to those women. We talked about this the other day. So we got to realize that the answers are in these Eshavors. They're telling a story, and if we can know the root meaning, because our words have been abbreviated, and corrupted. There's no F. F does not exist in our original diction. It's hiding the light. It's a code. Yeah. And Mal backwards, by the way, is lamb. And there's the lamb. Even though we're supposed to be like a hammer, like a maul, like a star ram, we're supposed to be gentle as a lamb. Okay, lamb backwards, maul. You see the anagram. So, yeah, I think it's time to stop talking now. I've been doing this thing 3.5 hours, and I just wanted to answer your question there, Kip. So did I cover all bases? Anybody else? I'm a glutton for punishment. Okay, take advantage of me. Well, get me while you got me, and I'm just so happy to share with all of you what's so important for me. I've got to do a program one day on the body parts, because all of our body parts have original thought in them. Oh, Take has a question. Take, where are you? Where? Take, can you? Oh, there. No, where? Well, no, it would be KY. Kip would be, here it would be like this, Kip. Here we go. There it is, Kefa. Kefa. So you've got an abbreviation of the original name of Peter, because Peter is a false name as well. It is Kefe, Kefe, and you've got Kefe. So you got a double creation. So you're like supercharged, you know. You got the fiery keys of the creation is the way you would read that in the original thought. Okay, you got to have an H with the K. There is no C, and C is another false letter. Where take if you got a question, copy and paste it back in. Okay, I don't see. You got to put my name in all capital letters. Yeah. In other words, Mississippi is a code, right? I finally learned, once I learned that the Metzorem were coming over here, and that South Illinois is called the New Egypt, and that that Alexander the Great's tomb was actually discovered by a tomb robber up here in southern Illinois on the Ohio River, and that the Hebrew people have been coming here for thousands of years, actually, and with the Phoenicians. And then, first I saw it within the word Illinois, and I realized that Illinois was a code, and it was the Lost Nile. Once I knew that, then I realized what was going on. And so the word Mississippi, which I thought was a Native American word, I realized then was a code, an Aryan code. And so when you read it, when I first read it forward to the back, and because look at the word, M for mother, is, that's Isis, okay, M is PPI, right? But then when I read it backwards, I saw it clearly, because the letter I at the end is like the eye you look with. And then the PP, like in Kip, is PHPH. And then is Isis, and then the last word is mother. So literally it means, see the second creation of Isis mother, okay? Because it's got it twice, right? So it'd be like this. Okay, that's the corruption. Don't type anything yet. Let me do this. That would be the correct lexicography for that, you see? And it's and you read it backwards. C, A-Y is the word see for your eyes, for looking. See the second creation, because you got PHPH, the second creation of Isis, meaning, again, just like PHPH, a double, saying it's the second creation of M. What is the second creation? It is the great river, like the Nile. The Nile River, the Mississippi, is just another version of the Nile, and they came right up the Mississippi River, all the way up into Michigan, and then to the Great Lakes, and up the Ohio River, into Pittsburgh. You know, they went all on. There was a highway. It was the highway, and then they went and go and get the ore, get the copper, right? You know how they've been mining that copper. You know about how they found all those plates of slate that had all the Hebrew writings on it, all the way around the Mediterranean, all the way around the Great Lakes. There's even a place in south of me here, Zanesville and Newark, right? And I found out they had a museum in Newark, Ohio, and that it's got the evidence of the giants. They had the evidence of the giants. They put them in the basement. They didn't want anyone to see it, according to Rob, legendary Rob, who lives down that way. And then they have all the writings of the Hebrew, right? And they say they don't know how it got here or anything, right? And so guess what? Newark is a code, just like Mississippi is a code for the second Nile River, and Illinois means the Lost Nile. That's the clue of what Mississippi means, right? The second creation. What second creation? The Lost Nile, that they secretly came over here on. Like, remember when I showed you the map of India, and I said that they put the Mississippi River on the wrong side of the continent because they wouldn't want anyone to find it, because it's their secret treasure. It's their secret hoard of copper and everything else they wanted to harvest, timber, whatever. Timber, sure. But where was I going with this? Backtrack. I can't rewind. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Zanesville. Okay, and so when I realized that museum was down there, all of a sudden I said, wait a minute, it's not Newark, it's the New Ark. Just like the Mississippi River is the second Nile, Newark is the New Ark, because they were coming over here and saw this as a second enclave to escape the tyranny of the one world order back then, when the priesthood became corrupt in Jerusalem. They wanted nothing to do with it, so this became the New Ark. And then, so what's Zanesville mean? It is nothing other than a code for Zionsville, right next to the New Ark. Can anyone put two and two together? I know, you've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a code, and the Heavenly Father has taught me to read, and we all need to know how to read. That's the secret to transcendence and enlightenment, to read all things, because everything is a serpent that can be unraveled, untwisted, because everything is twisted. Oh, golly. Okay, very good. Shelley, thank you very much. Okay. She's having too much fun, I obviously. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, wait a minute, did I answer all the questions? Did I get that question of take? Did I take Mal means, I don't know. Somebody's got to steer me straight here, okay? It's all becoming serpent to me. And but that's all right. It's all serpent to you too, isn't it? Huh? That's right. Okay. So we're all 3.5 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Did we cover everything? Anybody? And you know what I'm going to do right now? I just want you to know, if you want to call in on Skype, you can call in on my Skype, and I'll put the phone. Wait a minute. Can I do that? You know what? I don't know if I can take a Skype call or not. We're going to have to do another test, Shelley, and because I might be able to get it to work on my side, but we got to test it. We're not going to do it on the broadcast. Okay, so all right. Well, I'm feeling it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and we're going to be at it again tomorrow at 12 noon. Okay, we're going to now do it on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time every Saturday. Try to get a little earlier. Shelley's on the Pacific time, so she doesn't get to sleep as late on Saturday than to do this work. So she's making a sacrifice. But also Sunday we'll do it a little later. We'll do it at 12 noon. Sunday's more of a day people want to dedicate to their spiritual growth, and so we're going to bring it on at 12 noon, high noon, which is a great symbol for being always a high noon in Yeshua. In Yeshua, we're always a high noon. Noon is the symbol of the pure shelter. We're protected by the great light of the Father of Light if we're in the covenant relationship with Yeshua. It's a great mystery, and but we're going to be talking more about these things, and we're going to cap off with part 5. I can't get over how long this thing is dragged out, but we cover a lot of ground. That's why, okay? And we had to do our primer today on 101, and so okay, you're not going to music yet, are you? Oh, I got to see here. Okay, I'm listening. I don't know. She put that up. I thought the song was going up. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for stopping by today. I want to thank you for compelling me, because your being here is what motivates me. You know, the fact that you care, you're trying to figure it out. There's still stuff I'm trying to figure out, and I learn as I do this at the same time. We have a translation project. We literally are capable right now of doing the most important transliteration of scriptures in modern time based on the Indo-Germanic mother tongue. Okay, so with your support, if you could bring more, the first thing is bring more friends on, because more friends, then maybe we can get more support. We've got to fund it, and the only way we're going to be able to fund it is with a couple hundred people tuning in, and then when we're ready to publish, like we got 2 works right now ready to publish. One of them is the Book of Wisdom. The Book of Wisdom is the book by Joseph of Arimathea. Okay, came out of the Colburn, and I've already translated it based on original thought, and it's good to go. And we have no money to publish it. It's the greatest book of wisdom ever written, and it's by the great uncle of Yeshua, who buried him in his tomb. He took Mary to England after they were banished by the Sanhedrin 3 years after the resurrection. And then we've got also the dictionary. I could be publishing the first supplement of the dictionary. We're just struggling, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have any money. They get all the money, but we are trying to get it done on a song, a wing, and a prayer. Yoda says that there is no try. There's either do or don't do. And so I guess right now we're not doing too well. But we're doing the oral version, and we can at least do that while we're here. So do share with your friends, won't you? And thanks for doing that. I'm very honored to have so many wonderful new friends. I knew none of you a year ago. I knew none of you that are on here today. None. Okay, you're all latecomers in my life, and I'm so grateful that you all forgive a cliche, but give a damn about what's going on in our world. You know, it's tough. Don't forget later tonight, Dane Wigington. Actually, within 2 hours, he should have his video posted if it's not already. Within 2 hours, go to Dane Wigington and blow your mind. And I got to tell you, I just finished that documentary, Home, Home. Put home in quotes, in single quotes, home, and then documentary, and blow your mind. That is the most beautiful visual of where our planet is. You'll see things you've never seen before on that, okay? So with that, I just want you to remember, and don't forget, I'm Dezert-Owl telling you, if you want to know the future, then you need to look for the forbidden history, because it's all right here. It's what they didn't want you to know, that we tell you every day, because somebody's got to do it. So look for us tomorrow, and in the meantime, thank you for tuning in. And be safe out there, okay? It's a tough world, and it's going down, unfortunately. We'll see you.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day, with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils, catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never